do not adjust your radio dial. You are tuned in to the Mark Order Podcast. Join the Mark Order.
Oh yeah. It's Wednesday night. You know what that means. It's time for the Mark Order Podcast here on the Shining Wizards Network. And AntMoney here with Ryan Schlong.
Hello there.
Good evening, everybody out there who's watching along. Mark Kayfabe, we see you out there. Yeah, right now it's just a 2 live crew, Ryan. I don't know what else is going on.
Kate sent a text. Apparently she's rebooting her router.
Yeah, okay. We'll see her never.
Well, I mean, apparently, and this isn't me breaking news, because she put it on Twitter, but apparently, since she's staying at her apartment, she's going to upgrade her podcasting situation. And I think part of that has to be her internet.
I'll believe it when I see our website finished. Put it in that bucket. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough.
So Ryan, how's it going?
Not too shabby. How about yourself?
No complaints. Yeah, no complaints. I can't believe we're into March already. That's pretty wild.
Well.
Look who finally decides to show up.
Look, my internet's been on a heater lately with this rebooting beforehand situation. I don't want to tempt fate. I've got a good thing going.
Why wouldn't you reboot it like 20 minutes ago?
I don't know. I was watching from my bed today. I was all cozy.
From my bed. Well, excuse me for disrupting your coziness.
Well, my TV's all fucked up. I'm like due for a new one. It was like a cheap one and I've had it for a really long time. So, but I don't know. I've got either a hardware issue or I just need a new television. You just did the new TV gimmick though, right, Ann?
Yeah, I did. I think part of it's operator error though, Kate, if we're being honest.
Normally I would say yes, but because the thing I'm trying to do with my television is simply turn it on. That one I've had success with for decades.
I don't know, Ryan. That sounds like operator error.
Does sound like operator error.
Sounds like operator error, Kate. Sorry, Catherine.
How dare you?
There you go.
Too far. Too far.
Well.
What up, fellas?
Oh, hanging out. We're going to talk wrestling. Ryan,
yes.
Little birdie told me you got a birthday coming up.
Was that little birdie Kate in the text messages?
I don't know. I don't read who's sending what. I just see messages come in and I'm like, okay.
Yes, my birthday coincides with Revolution.
Yep, and we tried to throw you a birthday party and you rejected us.
It's true. So we're just going to have another birthday party on Sunday. We're
going to get a schlong cake.
We are.
Kate just wanted a schlong cake.
That was Ant's idea.
We're going to get an erotic cake that will make you fucking jealous. But it can't come out, Kate. The erotic cake can't come out until 8 o'clock when the tiny human goes to bed.
That is fair. I'm very excited. As we're discussing the go home, we will be going to Ant's home to watch the pay-per-view, which I'm very excited about. Except for Ryan, because he rejected us.
That's right.
a
Charlie
human.
refuses to leave
Sunday, and he
Philadelphia.
lives 2 hours away from Ant. No, it can't be that at all.
Wah, wah, wah. Wah, wah. I offered to host, which is closer to you. But now I'm kind of glad I'm not, because I'm going back and forth to Binghamton in one day. So,
True.
Because I got a Bobby Fish match to call, baby.
So that actually brings up.
Where's the lie?
What's that?
Where's the lie? I mean, folks.
That brings up a point. Ryan, did we get any submissions
No.
from anybody?
We did not. But however, I think you and I need to discuss this now. Since it's a Bobby Fish match, I think during the Bobby Fish match, she should have to work in an old-timey word. So we need to figure out the old-timey word.
Ooh, that's a good point, because he was born on the first day of 1900.
I was thinking about a way to work in some sort of tuna fish reference, because it's Bobby Fish. Like wasn't the Starkist tuna thing? Sorry, Charlie.
Oh, you're right. That's almost too easy, though. I feel like I would just say that naturally.
What about Rapscallion?
Rapscallion. What about that? Even seems pretty easy. Like, oh, what a Rapscallion.
Oh, it's easy, but it's still.
It is a classic.
I believe the whole. Just so you guys know, I believe the whole Starkist tuna slogan was sorry, Charlie, Starkist doesn't want tuna with good taste, but tuna that tastes good.
Is that what it is?
I think that's the
funny.
whole phrase. If you can work
delightful.
that in, Jesus Christ.
What
Doc
about
Mueller.
On
Weisenheimer?
your arm.
Doc Mueller, yes, we are.
What about Weisenheimer?
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
You never heard anybody call somebody a Weisenheimer?
Is it like a wise ass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I called it before.
Sloanamite says G. Willikers.
That's
What
a
if we
good
take
one.
it a step further and make it a Simpsons reference, Jiminy Jillikers?
I can do my best, but I'm not a Simpsons watcher. So
I mean,
what's it from? Give me context.
that's what Fallout Boy and Radioactive
Fallout
Man,
Boy
that's
says.
what Fallout Boy would say. Jiminy Jillikers.
Jiminy Jillikers. He's basically Robin.
Oh my God, Schlong, what about the goggles? They do nothing.
I'm trying to think how you could work that in.
I was gonna say it's not a swim meet. Come
It
on
doesn't
now.
matter. You can figure out a way.
The goggles, they do nothing. I feel uncomfortable when I don't know what I'm talking, like what it means.
I really want to play the clip. I'm afraid we'll get dinged.
And not
for
do
something.
that.
Nope.
Mueller recommending Bacchanalia. Bacchanal. Sorry, Bacchanal. I had it.
What are these words?
I don't even know what that
Dasher,
is.
Wiffle
The
Waffle,
word
Saddle
anal
Goose.
is in it.
So that's out because Kate won't be able to get through it without laughing at it.
Yes, I can. I'm a professional, kind of.
Which one? Bacchanal?
Back anal.
Oh.
What about Ballyhoo?
Ballyhoo's workable.
I think it has
Doc
to be a
Mueller's just
phrase.
throwing out like tough words. I feel like I gotta know what it means.
You figure what? And what do you think it has to have?
A phrase. I don't think it has to be. It could be a single word. I think it has to be a short phrase, not something that's like reciting a poem, but a very short phrase. We can think this over.
You've got 4 days. 4
I've got
days.
2 tickets to paradise. Pack your bags. We're leaving the day after tomorrow.
I don't know if
Jamaica's largest freshwater pool.
I don't know if I would call the greater Binghamton area like paradise so much, but
No, we're not using 2 tickets to paradise.
no, it's a waste of 2
It
tickets.
would be funny to be like, he needs to be at Jamaica's largest freshwater pool.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people popping off in the chat about this thing that I'm going to be trying to get in.
Oh, I'm looking at them all. I just haven't. Some of them I can't pronounce.
Coxcomb? I just sent an email to someone and her name was Rebecca Woodcock. Come on.
I had
that
to
girl
send
got
some.
bullied her whole life. Woodcock? That's a double.
Kate,
That's
Kate.
rough.
The girl's name that I had to send an email to, and I shit you not, was Candy Cummings.
Stop it. Why did her parents hate her?
I
Or
don't
was
know.
she a stripper that moved to a new?
No, that was her real official name.
Her shoot name? Her birth name?
I know a family last name Hammer. And they had a daughter, and her initials are MC.
See, no, that rules.
That was done on purpose. That was done purposely.
Because she could just be like Michaela Catherine or whatever, but then she's MC Hammer, and that fucking rules.
Yep. And it's not Catherine.
No way, Kyle. Kyle's can't happen.
Spizzer Inkdom?
I just.
I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, I think people won't know what it is, and they'll be like, what the hell?
I appreciate that he's just looking up words from the 1920s, though.
I mean, that's what I'm doing.
Look up phrases. Something that can be worked into instead of like a instead of just like a single word.
Is someone aged 40 to 49, so Bobby Fish is way too old for that.
What about an octogenarian?
An octogenarian? If that's a thing, I could probably make it work.
All right, here you go. I got some old-timey phrases.
Oh, boy.
That's my cup of tea. Kick up your heels. I'll be there with bells on. This one's common.
I sort of like kick up your heels.
Yeah. You
can even get that one out of the way quick, Kate. You could be like, ladies and gentlemen, kick up your heels and get comfortable. This is going to be a great show.
I gotta throw that on the.
You know what I mean? A great shoe.
A great show. I can work a kick up your heels.
Hold on. There's a couple more. There's be still my heart.
That's a good one too.
You're the bee's knees. You're the cat's meow.
No? I think you got to do a poll with be still my heart, kick up your heels. I'm gonna write them down. I got my Post-its. We need two more.
Happy cabbage.
What?
What about jazz cabbage?
Hang wangle.
What about Wango Tango?
Love the dub.
Wango Tango is in the running. That's just good sense. Wango Tango, be still my heart.
Give someone the wind.
Give someone the wind.
Heels.
That's to give someone the wind is to jilt a suitor.
Nah, I don't like it, but
that sounds like somebody farted.
Yeah.
There's Know Your Onions from Rob Humphrey.
Know Your Onions. That's pretty good.
You could say that as a heel commentator to whoever you're talking with.
There's nose bagger.
No, we got our four. We got our four. Wango Tango, be still my heart, kick up your heels, know your onions. That's a strong ballot.
It is, but just make sure there's nothing here. Hold on. No. So
I'm waiting on you, boss.
This is great radio.
I know some of these really suck. I'm just trying to find one that doesn't suck.
We got to talk through it.
I am. I'm literally just trying to find one hit. This is my talking through it. Once I find it on, you'll hear me actually say it. All right, the rest suck. Those are our four. They were all bad. Goodness. I tried. Lally Cooler, a real success. Oh, wait, there's On Your Jollies.
On Your
My
Jollies.
kayfabe, I already did 23 Skidoo, believe it or not.
Yeah, that was like one of the first ones.
That was one of the earlier ones.
Hanky Panky. See a Man About a Dog.
I would rather, instead of Hanky Panky, I would rather do Make Whoopee, because that's just fun.
How would you possibly use Make Whoopee?
I don't know. I'm fucking gifted, Aunt. I can make it work. I got 23.
You What did I say before? You're like, I don't know how to make this work. I'm like, you'll figure it out. You're
giving me Simpsons phrases from episodes I've never seen.
The goggles, they do nothing. You would get a pop from that one. You would certainly. There'd be somebody out there like, holy shit, a Radioactive Man reference.
Okay, you know what? I've done like 6 of these. It's been a while since I've been there. I think we try 2.
You're gonna go, you want to do 2?
I do. We're gonna do a runoff for this, and I'm gonna do the goggles. They do nothing.
Whoa! Now it's a fail if you don't get them both in.
That's okay. I'm. It's about drive. It's about power. You know.
I know. Like I don't know if the move's gonna happen, but I know where it would fit.
And the.
Can someone give me context for how it's used on The Simpsons? So
on The Simpsons, they're shooting a scene in which acid is supposed to pour from this like place and go through a tunnel and get to our superhero, and they're like, we're using real acid, so everyone put on your safety goggles. So the actor puts on his safety goggles and the acid comes down and just destroys everything, and the actor yells, the goggles, they do nothing.
It's actually, I just looked up and listened to the quote. The full hold on, sorry, I'm trying to play it and talk at the same time. He says, my eyes, the goggles do nothing. So you don't have to say my eyes, the goggles do nothing. You just have to say the goggles do nothing.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to make it happen. We're going to do a runoff of those 4, and I'm going to get the goggles do nothing in there.
That's a strong one.
All I need is someone to do like a crossbody or something. You know what I mean? I need somebody to hit somebody in the head in a way.
Sorry, I'm watching the scene.
If somebody can give me like an eye poke, just like an eye rake, I'm there.
That's an eye poke, an eye rake, you're set.
Somebody will do something with an eye. Thumb to the eye. Easy.
I'm pretty well respected in the locker room. I'm gonna plan it.
Oh, come
someone
on.
Does something. Well, also though, if a heel who thinks he looks really good comes out and like flexes, it could fit there too.
It could. It's probably going to be that son of a bitch, Mike Skyros.
So Sloana might ask, can we do a poll? We'll do a poll. Ryan, you want to run it on mark order?
Yeah, Kate's going to have to give me the 4. I forget what they are already.
I will give you the 4, but I will announce them right here on the Mark Order podcast live. Wango
right,
Tango. I'll send you them.
Okay.
They're Wango
Tango. Send me them.
Be Still My Heart. Kick Up Your Heels. And Know Your Onions. I feel like that one's a Bobby Fish challenge because they're all kind of old-timey. And then the other one, I just have to work in at some point throughout the night.
You'll figure it out. You'll find your way.
I am. I'm a professional. And by a professional, I mean I get paid kind of.
They give you a soda.
Are we going to point out that you're calling a Bobby Fish match? So this will be announced said during then?
I don't think you have to do it during Bobby Fish.
Okay. I liked it.
I feel like the old timey one I should. Because it's like basically for Bobby Fish.
I mean, like I said, the easiest thing to do would be is if it's kick up your heels, you just say, ladies and gentlemen, kick up your heels. It's time for the main event. Strap in because this is going to be a good one. That's
why I hope Kick Up Your Heels doesn't win. I want Wango Tango or Be Still My Heart.
That's true.
I could even, I mean, both of those, you could throw those in right towards the end of that match.
They had Fandango a couple months ago. That's a shame. I could have done a Wango Tango Fandango. This will be fun. I'm excited. I'm also just excited to return to commentary. I haven't done it since like November, I think. So I think it'll be good.
Well, it should be fun.
LSG versus Bobby Fish. Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
Hell yeah.
I mean, you've got one really old guy and one guy who, I don't know. What do you call LSG? Mid?
Wow. Aggressive.
What?
Mid. Ouch. He's the ace of space over there.
I don't know. He sounds like the ace of SpaceX, if you catch my drift. He seems right along the lines of Elon Musk. He thinks along the same lines from what I hear.
Wow. Aggressive.
What?
He was at the ROH tapings, and we'll, I'm sure, talk about ROH a little bit.
We're not.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm not not tonight because I'm not. Let me tell you something. I wasn't planning on talking about this. No, you hit a sore spot, and it's not your fault. I have a huge fucking problem with the amount of fucking spoilers that are right out there in the middle of fucking social media. And it's not like they're spoiling the results of the match, but they're fucking spoiling every single fucking person that showed up at the tapings.
But
it's like
question
Yeah.
though, and this is a fair question because I am a spoiler fan, but I do not support giving them to unsuspecting people. Everyone should have a right to determine whether they want to know or not. However, is knowing who's going to be there a spoiler? Because like we always know cards ahead of time for the most part.
I don't want to know who's at the taping the day they're taping. Let them announce it.
They
I don't
did
want to
announce
know.
it by now, though.
They did by now, but I don't want to see in real fucking time. Spoiler alert, so if you didn't see it, turn your fucking shit off right now. But like as it's going on, oh, Lady Frost showed up to fight Willow fucking Nightingale. And there's a fucking photo. Like I don't like come on.
No. That's a you problem.
I don't
if that all got announced ahead of the tapings anyway.
It didn't.
But it's announced before it airs.
That's the thing. Yeah, they announced it before it aired. So you would already know in advance.
Here's the fucking problem. You can't stop it from showing up because everything now shows you suggested fucking shit.
I can't really stick to your following. You really got to stick to your following.
But that's not
so then I'm going to follow nobody.
No.
Because I do a wrestling podcast.
There's a for you and a following. If you stick to the following, you should be safe. Because
No,
I really only saw like the same 3 accounts talking about it.
It's not on Twitter because I'm barely on fucking Twitter. It's on Facebook. It's on Instagram. You can't
I don't
stop
follow any
it.
of the wrestling stuff on there.
But you can't stop it. It's really fucking bad. I just don't like. If you're gonna put something up, put a graphic and put like a spoiler tag, whatever. If you want to click on it, fine. But I can't be just scrolling through a feed and see a giant picture of Lady Frost locking up with Willow Nightingale at a Ring of Honor taping and talking about what's going on in the match.
I feel like what's going on in the match, sure, but I feel like who was there if they're gonna announce it beforehand anyway. Like,
but give me the option.
Yeah, but so then my question.
But if you follow ROH, you're finding out about it ahead of time.
Understood, but let me find out when Ring of Honor announces it, because what if this match wasn't in the first show? What if this is happening in 2 weeks? We don't know how they're cutting up the tapings yet. Like when we go to see Dark, like when we go to Dynamite and they tape Dark, that's sometimes 4 weeks of programming. You don't know where it's getting cut in. Because there was, when we went to one of the Atlantic City Rampages that was live last year, Gina and I, like 4 weeks later, saw a match that was taped for Dark on one of those tapings. Like, it's not all in real time. That's why I don't want to know about it. But I don't have an option.
Right? Like, this also isn't in real time.
I'm sorry, say again?
But this also isn't in real time. This is weeks ahead of time. So you don't know when until ROH is clarifying it, right?
But if Ring of Honor is going to tell me, let's say a match that they taped this weekend isn't happening in 2 weeks, then they'll let me know either on TV this week or next week when they're building to television. I don't need to know about it from the tapings. That's my choice. It's the same thing as I don't want to see the spoilers from the Rampage tapings that happen, on a Wednesday night. But the only difference is most places I have to go click to find it and I can avoid it. But the way it happened this past weekend was fucking awful. And I wasn't the only person. I saw other people saying the same thing. It's like, I don't want to see it because this can happen in 2 weeks on television. Like, just give me the option. And you can't on some of these fucking platforms. Instagram is fucking terrible. I'm about to get off all of it. Because you can't anymore. They fucking throw all this shit in. I was scrolling through somebody I know's feed in Instagram and fucking ads were coming up.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is fucking terrible. Sorry, I sound like an old man, but
no, I'm not sensitive to spoilers anyway, so it doesn't ruin it for me. So I don't have like an overwhelming opinion one way or the other. But I feel like I feel like it's a fair line. If you were going to find out about it ahead of time anyway, like that doesn't that kind of doesn't bug me as much as far as like talent who's gonna be here. But when you get like kind of into matches and stuff, I get that for sure.
There were not even three. There were like one or two things that I would agree with you, Ant, that came out. And one of them I want to talk about in a second because that applies to AEW and it's posted by AEW, so this isn't a spoiler now. Well, kind of is, but we'll talk about that in a second. But for the most part, just announcing who's there, I don't view that on the same level simply because, again, what's the difference if you know on a Wednesday night who's going to be there, on the Tuesday night who's going to be there? It's still... You're still knowing ahead of time. It hasn't changed anything. As long as the outcomes aren't there. Now we have to talk about something else, though. And Ant saw all the stuff, so he knows, so I'm not ruining it for him.
I did.
If you didn't, you saw all who's going to be at ROH.
I didn't see everybody who's going to be at Ring of Honor. Not yet.
Really?
No, I'm not on social all day. I can't fucking do it. I work a real job, and then I have a kid to take care of.
Yeah, but now you're just... But it sounded like just a moment ago that...
If you want to talk about it, that's fine. But I'm just saying, I don't see everything before it happens.
But this is the confusing part then, because you were just very angry about seeing everything before it happens, and now you're saying you didn't. That's why I assumed you saw everything.
Because nothing was announced, and it was all these fucking dirt sheets spoiling it. There were literally pictures, who was appearing, and results. What the fuck are we doing?
I just saw who appeared.
I don't understand that. I don't ever want to know what the results are. And I don't care if it's out there. Like, again, I've seen the Rampage stuff spoiled. Here's the results. I don't click on it because I'd rather just see what happens on Rampage. But you can go click on it and find out. I'm not scrolling through Facebook or Instagram and I see the fucking thing come up. Here's what happened at Rampage. And I don't have an option.
Well, they also taped like 8 hours. So that's the thing. Like, I think because if they taped Rampage like for 11 hours in one session or something, I bet you would. I bet you'd see a lot more of that. But they taped like, I think probably, we'll see, because they're not beholden to TV times.
Right.
Like 3 or 4 episodes.
But again, if they're taping 8 hours, let's say, if they're taping 8 hours, it's not for one episode. That's for like 4 or 5 episodes. So who knows when they're going to start, how they're cutting it up and how they're playing into storylines. So I don't necessarily want to know from the dirt sheet spoilers who's taping and what's being taped. When it's announced on Ring of Honor or when it plays out on television, that's when I'll fucking find out. I just want the option to not have it spoiled for me. If it's out there and you can click on it to find out, just like anything else, no problem. But the fact that it was showing up in my fucking feed with nothing that was like spoilers or like general graphics, it was wild.
If you don't, I feel like it is nowadays. I feel like it's pretty impossible. Like, if you don't like spoilers, you just can't be on social. Or you have to go out of your way to block stuff.
I did, and I fucking stayed. After I saw that Saturday, like midday or whenever they were doing part of the taping, I just stayed off everything. Because I was like, it's not going to stop. Because I scrolled past it and I saw another fucking one. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what are we doing? Anyway, go ahead, Schlong. What do you want to talk about? What did they announce?
Well, it's going to spoil something, so now I'm hesitant.
They spoiled something themselves?
No. But if you saw this, well, that's the thing. I'll tell you what they didn't, but you're going to know by me bringing up in this context what the spoiler is what my thing is.
Well, who revealed the information?
There's 2 different pieces of information here.
But who revealed it?
AEW revealed the first piece that I want to talk about, but you're automatically going to know what the second piece is by me telling you the first piece.
But only because it's coming up in this conversation.
This came out the Saturday things you avoided. I saw it.
So then why would you bring it up? I'll check out for like 5 minutes. You just text me and tell me when to come back.
I'll just take off your headphones and I'll wait when you should come back.
This is the torquiest shit.
Did you see Eddie Kingston quote unquote quit AEW?
Yes, I did.
And but we know where he's going now.
Yeah, I'm excited about that resolution, and like, of anybody who, and I love MJF, I've said it before, But like, of anybody who does the best job, like working stuff in interviews, like I know I'm an Eddie Mark anyway, but my God, like there's nobody that makes it feel more real than him. Like the Jay White stuff.
He's great for this initial.
He's been like, there's been some backstage shit that I've had to work out with the brass or whatever. Like at some point, enough is enough. Like this is all clearly leading to him and Claudio, which I'm extremely excited about. So,
but it's good for ROH to have him involved in the first.
Good for both of them. Like honestly, like Eddie has not been on a track in a very long time. And I was kind of wondering if this was why a couple of weeks ago, like ROH is firing back up. Claudio's obviously the champion. He said in an interview that the 4 guys he doesn't like are Punk, Danielson, Jericho, and Claudio. He's fought 3 of them already. This seemed like a logical next place to go. It just took so long to get there. But he also has this thing going on with Ortiz clearly still. So I'm very excited about it. I am very excited about ROH. I'm just excited that it's up and running again. So that should be super fun. But
how long do we leave Van off for?
I don't know. Should we just leave him off the whole rest of the episode and surprise him? Be like, and we're at the main event. Is there anything else ROH related that you want to talk about?
No,
I don't consider who's going to be there spoilery at all.
No, I'm excited. I like every matchup I've seen.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it's off to a really like refreshing start.
I'm very curious for how long it runs for.
Meaning, like per episode.
Yeah,
I am too.
Ian Riccaboni made me very nervous about that.
Why?
I think we can bring Ann in for this because this isn't spoiler.
No, let's just get this out of the way with, and then we'll bring him back.
Okay.
They taped for a really long time. So we'll see, but they're trying to get everything in before Supercard of Honor. They're not beholden to any sort of TV. So they could do a 1 hour and 27-minute show if they wanted. Like it doesn't really matter. So I just hope.
No, I'm just saying that's what makes me nervous. Like they did film a lot of stuff and they aren't beholden to time. So hopefully someone editing this has a good sense for pacing the edits.
Yeah, and I think, it's like 4 weeks of content, right? So at least going into Supercard. So I feel like it was a really long time. And I was like, well, yeah. They're trying to pump out a month of wrestling. My guess is, and I really liked the hour format, so I hope they don't stray too far from it, but seems like it's going to be 2 hours. So we'll see. But
yep. All right. Guess we bring him back.
And so that's who wins at Supercard of Honor.
I cannot believe Undertaker's in ROH. I mean, Jesus
I know it's
Christ.
wild.
I'm not an idiot. Not an idiot.
You know that he comes at Supercard of Honor. We understand.
Of course.
No, not even close. Come on.
Come in. He tombstones Claudio.
I mean, that would be a huge win for the company.
It'd be amazing if it was like Cheeseburger. Like he just goes after like CB.
Yeah, that would be.
Would that be a win though? Like it would be a win for like a week.
No.
But the man can't wrestle.
I mean, it would get eyes on the product.
it would cause. It would
that's true.
Win the news cycle for like a week and change.
I don't think they can afford him.
Yeah, nobody can. I can tell you this. I don't know what you talked about, but they did announce. I know 4 of the matches that were announced. Claudio versus AR Fox for the championship. They announced Metalik versus Ari Daivari.
Mm-hmm.
They announced the Infantry versus the Kingdom. And they announced Madison, Rain, and Sky Blue versus the Renegade Twins.
Interesting to see the Renegade Twins for sure, as they held the NWA tag titles for like a day. That were like peace.
Yeah, that was insane.
I also am glad that they tried to play that twin gimmick, the twin magic gimmick for a little while when they first were in AEW. And it was like, they don't look that much alike.
No.
That was the best thing when Tony was like, you guys realize you don't look alike, right?
Yeah.
Like I could tell you who you are.
Yeah. So I'm glad that they put a hold on that. But I am looking forward to seeing the show tomorrow. I signed up for Honor Club today, first of the month.
Woohoo.
So signed up. I'll have it to watch tomorrow. I'll go back to the catalog to watch some other stuff, especially some of the events I was actually at to see how they played out on TV, because I actually never did that. Like I never went back to watch stuff because I didn't fucking have a way to go back and watch it. And then Matt, Millionaire Matt was like, you can use my login, and I just never had the time to sit and do it. So
I was gonna
I'll go back and watch some of that stuff now.
Gotta steal Matt's logins. It's the best way to live life.
He gave me his login for New Japan, and I still never went and watched Wrestle Kingdom.
I accidentally bought the Japanese commentary, so when they shouted out Wizards podcast, I didn't hear it. Coolest moment
How did
ever.
you accidentally buy Japanese commentary?
I think I bought it from.
We already talked about that tonight.
I think I bought it from New Japan World, and it was in Japanese, I think, and so I just clicked on the wrong one. But
so I do you guys, I guess, did talk about Ring of Honor. I will say this: I do want to talk a little Ring of Honor on this show as the show starts. I mean, I don't want to spend 8 hours on it, but we could certainly talk about, sort of like, do we like the way it looks? Do we like the feel? Do we like the look of it? You know what I mean? Like, but we don't have to spend 12 hours on it. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Plus, you could listen to Kyle K. Sparks talk about it. Maybe one day he'll let one of us be a guest on his show. Lord only knows.
Fat chance.
I know. Jesus Christ. No, I love Kyle K. Sparks. So guys, you want to talk about Rampage at all?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we have to talk about the Young Bucks and Aussie Open if we're going to talk about anything.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That match ruled.
That match fucking ruled. And it opened the night. I mean, you figured it was going to open because it's a fucking 10 o'clock show. So they're not going to wait till 10:45 to put that on. But Jesus Christ, did that match rule. The Young Bucks won. And of course, afterwards, there was the mind games by the House of Black. We were building to that match. So, but man, Aussie Open is fucking great. The Young Bucks are great in tag team action. Just wish we got to see more of Aussie Open in AEW.
Well, friend.
Yes.
Do I have news for you later? No, this match was great. I was on the Friday night show. I was at my sister's this weekend helping her out. And she doesn't really give a shit about wrestling. But because I had it on, she had kind of seen and she got really grabbed in. She referred to Aussie Open as the green team and the Young Bucks as the silver team because they had their silver pants on. And it was just very fun to hear her say, holy shit, they're kicking the shit out of the green team. Very, very fun. But sincerely, she was pretty blown away by a lot in this match, which was fun. She doesn't get invested at all. So it was cool to see her like watching not at a force, but voluntarily a little bit. Such a good match. Just insane. Like there were so many spots. The I'm gonna make you tombstone your own tag team partner was really fun. Lot of the tandem
Don't you dare
offense.
like that, Kate.
I know. How dare I? I don't know. I thought this was a blast. It honestly is not like my favorite type of wrestling, but like it's fun. So who cares? Like I don't need every. It would be really boring if every match was an FTR match, and it would be really boring to me if every match was a Young Bucks match. I like completely different styles in my wrestling. So this was awesome. A lot of the tandem offense in this was great. There were some crazy, just like high risk spots in this too. But very, very fun opener. And I just like when Rampage starts that way with like a hot opener. I think it's good that they're putting, I don't want to say more important talent, but more top of the card talent on Rampage these days. Makes it a more fun and easier watch. But yeah, this was a classic. I hope they keep Aussie Open around a little bit longer. They showed up other ways and places that we're going to talk about later. But this was awesome. Very, very fun start to the night.
And we also haven't necessarily, since coming back, we haven't seen a ton of Young Bucks in just straight up tag competition. Like I think we saw them in like 2 matches as a tag team.
They've been trioing.
Yeah, they've been triosing. They've been menage-a-trois-ing.
They sure have. I'm not doing that on commentary, but also the post-match watching it with my sister was very funny because she was like, "Oh my god, the lights went out. Was that on purpose?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then they appeared, and she was like, "Oh my god, what's with their?" As she called them costumes, their gear. She was like, "Oh my god, what's with their? They're so creepy." And then the third time, she was like, "Oh my god, we get it. Oh my god, they disappeared." Like she just bit every single beat, which was really, really fun. But sure seems like I think this is why they did a best of 7, was they were probably going to transition these titles sooner rather than later to House of Black. So this was fun. And I liked the post match. I think it was well executed for what it was. I get a little fatigued on the lights out stuff, but they're badass. Like, I'm just very excited for what that match is going to be. So, yeehaw.
Yeah. Schlong, what did you think of the match? Did you see it actually?
I saw it.
Okay.
Again, just how anyone could like that tombstone spot. That's not real wrestling. Let me show you real wrestling where a guy helps another guy get lifted up so that they can slam him on his back. Now that's real wrestling.
That's real wrestling.
No,
real wrestling is also wrestlers like Danhausen. That's real wrestling.
That's sports wrestling.
Sports-based wrestling.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun for that match. Those two teams obviously have chemistry. Aussie Open's weird because I don't know what their plan is. They're showing up on a lot of AEW stuff recently, but that doesn't mean anything. And they don't have. They're not. I'm trying to think of a different thing. Like, let's just use an actual. Yes, Keith?
Might they be setting up a Forbidden Door too?
That's possible. My problem is I don't think they've hyped up Aussie Open enough.
I won't know if there's a Forbidden Door 2 until there's a major announcement made on Dynamite.
Fair enough.
I just won't know. I won't know.
Fair enough. Well, if you are like, hey, I have an itch to find out, you can ask Ryan and I, because we are in the news.
You're in the
We're getting the scoops.
That's fine. I don't need to know.
We're in touch. Ryan knows who everybody's dating.
Ryan knows everybody's dating?
I feel like you know a lot of the AEW couples. I feel like Ryan has a little TMZ.
I can tell you this much.
I love love.
We'll
I love love.
I love love. I can tell you this much. We'll talk about love later because we're going to talk about Dynamite. I don't know. Something about MJF tonight maybe tells me why his fucking engagement broke up. Jesus Christ. So let's see. What else do we have? Big Bill, Lee Moriarty, and the Guns attack Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta backstage. So clearly they're trying to eliminate teams from this tag team fucking thing that happened tonight. Tony Storm unfortunately defeated Willow Nightingale. One hurts me personally. And then Saraya and Storm, go for spray paint, but Ruby comes out to make the save. So, Jamie Hayter intercepts. So we got this whole thing building to this triple threat match at the pay-per-view. It is what it is. I'll tell you this much. I was watching this, and Little Money was sitting doing something. He was playing
like a rapper.
He was
Little
playing
Money.
Little Money. He was playing his Nintendo Switch, like in handheld.
Mm-hmm.
And he heard Tony Storm's music hit, and he looks up and he's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "You know who that is? It's Tony Storm." He's like, "I don't know. I don't like her as much as the girl with the sunglasses." I'm like, "That is the girl with the sunglasses." He's like, "Oh yeah, I really like her." I was like, yeah, you do. I was like, "Yeah, you do."
Yeah, you do.
I was like, "Yeah, you do." And then Willow Nightingale came out, and he yells, "Hey, Mom, it's Dad's crush." It's like, it's not a crush.
Yes.
Stop.
Yes, it is.
Well,
Does he know about your crush on Maria?
Oh, he saw her. He's sorry, I saw everything freezing just come back. He loves Maria Kanellis. He saw her and then was like, "Who's that with the red hair?" And we were like, "Oh, it's Maria Kanellis." He's like, "Oh, does she wrestle?" And we were like, "No, she doesn't wrestle anymore." He's like, "Okay." It's like, "Okay. Is there more of her?" I was like, "Yeah, we can find you more Maria Kanellis." Perf.
Mike Bennett's got competition.
He does. Let's see. We had the Acclaim get attacked by Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. That was Kate's favorite part of Friday night.
Obviously.
And then I was happy to see Lance Archer return. Had a little bit of a new look, but he looks great. Jake the Snake was with him.
Jacob the Snake-Up.
That's right. And it was good to see Jake the Snake before he saw his fucking biography on Sunday night. Jesus Christ. Every time I see a Jake the Snake biography, I forget about all the fucked up shit that happened with him and his fucking family. Just kills you. But Lance looks good.
He does look good.
Lil Money also saw Lance and was like, "Whoa, he's really throwing that guy all over the place." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what he does, dude." I was like, he just kills
chucks
people.
humans.
That's right. So I just hope that they have something for Lance to do because he looks like he's in good shape. They talked up a lot of what he was doing in New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? Maybe we'll see some more of Lance involved with something. I don't know. TNT title. I don't know.
I hope so. I hope he's not just like male Nyla Rose, where it's like
I agree.
Myla Rose.
Male Nyla Rose. Like they have the same role.
Myla.
Oh.
He could be Lila. Like Lance. Lila.
Oh yeah.
Dude Love Rose.
Myla Mose.
Dude Love Rose. That's pretty good. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Something else I thought was interesting, guys. There's a Jade Cargill video where she said she's an undeniable star. She's beaten everyone there is to beat, and she welcomes all challengers and suggests that anybody can step up for a shot at her. And she specifically was talking about asking for people's favorites to come up and sort of face her. Are they angling to? Are we thinking they're angling? I mean, we've talked about this with Mercedes, right?
Right.
I don't fucking know what's going on with Mercedes. I mean, I know what's going on with Mercedes, but there's so many different things that people are dropping out there. Like Kenny was like talking about the possibility of doing a mixed tag match. Somebody on the New Japan side said, yeah, there's no plans for her to wrestle a mixed tag. I don't know. Like, first of all, if it's not going to be Mercedes, who's it going to be if it's not Chris Statlander? You know what I mean? Like, so I just don't know what they're doing with Jade at this point.
I'm getting nervous because it feels like, to me, like they don't know what they're doing with Jade at this moment. It feels really cooled off. I really thought 50-0 was going to be okay, she drops. Chris Statlander's not coming back till summer. Layla Hirsch, possibly, if she were to come back. That doesn't feel like a big enough whatever. Kind of hard to bite at Mercedes after what they did last time, and it just feels off because she kind of just started her New Japan reign. Like,
right.
She just won from Kairi. She already has her next opponent set up. Though I'm sure New Japan would not be mad about the exposure of their new women's belt on AEW. You could also set that up if they're going to do a Forbidden Door too. That's an awesome idea. Like, that could be super, super fun.
And they also have they have that working relationship, right? Like Tony's talked about it with Ring of Honor. Like, we have a relationship with New Japan. They clearly have one with AEW. So like it can happen. But I think I saw something that it was like Mercedes, they wanted to put the belt on her for the initial pop of having the belt on her and getting eyes on it because it's their women's belt, right? And it needs some exposure, and that makes total sense. But she doesn't have anything past this next opponent sort of lined up is what I understand. So I just don't know where they go with her after that.
It'll be interesting. Like, if she's going to be mostly wrestling in California, that's an entirely different thing than if she's going to mostly be wrestling in Tokyo, right? So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what side she falls on. I thought the match with Kairi was great. I really do. But she's kind of spoken a lot about wanting to make New Japan the place where people want to go for women's wrestling. She could also just be selling the product, right? That's her job in that way. But I don't know. I don't know. Some people are saying Britt. I see that in the chat, and I've seen that a little bit now that Britt is a face, but she seems pretty tied up with this Jamie Hayter thing. I also think she's going to turn on Jamie, and that'll be a program in its own.
And she's going to do something with Tony Storm here too. Like that was clearly lined up tonight. And I think it's because they realize, we'll talk about it later, but I think they realized like, oh fuck, Britt's on this pay-per-view, and she's got a little pay-per-view streak going. We've got to figure out a way to get her on this pay-per-view.
Throw her on there somehow.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's disappointing when you invest 3 years and 53 undefeated wins into somebody, and then it feels like they have no game plan, unless Chris is working people in way ahead of summertime. But sounds like she's got a ways to go on her injury. And I feel like they had opportunities with Willow, with Athena to do that. And they just didn't pull the trigger. Tony Khan's kind of slow to do that a lot of times. So I don't know. It's a bummer. Feels like they're kind of wasted her reign.
I feel like they're like putting their eggs in a basket, thinking like all their eggs in one basket, thinking like this Mercedes thing can happen. You know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, I don't know if it can. You know what I mean? Like,
when you already teased it, so it's kind of like if you teased it and didn't follow through. I don't think it's a boy who cried wolf. People aren't going to be mad if she shows up, but and it's hard to like now get invested into the idea that might happen because they didn't do it.
And they're not necessarily, I want to be clear, they're not teasing that now, but it automatically is where your brain goes when she's like, anybody can step up and take this belt from me.
Who else, right? Like who else would feel like a big enough deal that's available? I'm pretty sure Deanna re-signed with Impact, so that's probably not it. But we'll see.
Ryan, you wanted to say something and I just kept going. My apologies. What did you want to add?
No, I mean, either you can't have it be Britt. You just can't. She's already, like, if you're going to have someone win this title, either has to be a big signing from the outside, Mercedes, or you have to make someone with the win over Jade. That makes the title reign make sense and keeping it on Jade for so long. If the person you hand it to is Britt, who doesn't need it, what are we really doing? Let Jade's loss make the next person. Unless it's Mercedes, but she's such an exception because she elevates it to another level. But if it's Willow, if it's Statlander, if it's Athena's got a title, but if it was one of them, it makes them instantly if they win. So it has to be one of them. It cannot be Britt or someone at that level. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you know, the sad thing is, like Kate mentioned, and we've talked about it here, the sad thing is they had all of the opportunities with the people in the right spots to take that belt off her even before she got to 50. Like, you had Athena lined up. Didn't happen. You had Willow face her for like a second or a third time, I can't remember, and it felt like maybe this can go, and it didn't. And then you even had, I'd even say, fine, Red Velvet, right? Because they lined that up too. I mean, I wouldn't have loved that, but the story was there.
Yeah.
You know, so like I would have bitten on it because of the story, but it didn't happen. So now you're stuck. Like you're putting all of your eggs into one basket, either by thinking it's going to be Mercedes, like you're going to have her come in and Britt's got to fucking drop to Mercedes. Right? Like Britt's not going to go over, you know, Mercedes.
Jade, you mean?
Jade. Yeah. Sorry. Jade.
No.
But like beyond that, yeah. Who else? Like it's not.
The only thing else that I could think of is if it was someone like in a legend capacity. Like I'm a little worried that Abella might be coming back based on Britt's promo, but I think that was more a wink. But I can't even think of anybody that's not tied up in, like Trish and Lita are tied up in WWE, like who you would bring back in that way. And the other thing is like Jade's strengths are not ones that are in the ring. So it's also hard because it's not like she is able to make someone a star at this point in her career in that way. So it can't be like you can't do like somebody who's super hot from the indies coming in and as like a shock upset, because I feel like the wrestling acumen has to be really good to pull that off.
Yeah.
And I don't think she is strong enough in that specific way yet. So that's also just tricky, because if it was like the hottest name on the indies coming in and they're going to dethrone Jade, it's like you have to have the match be, I think, at a certain caliber to pull that off.
Right.
And I don't think it's there yet.
I don't even think it's somebody like fuck, I really can't remember her name. It's Sheeta. I don't even think it's somebody like Sheeta. I think if you say it's Sheeta, I think it's a bad idea. Just not because of anything like my personal, I'm not a huge fan of Sheeta. I just think, like, what sense does that make? You know what I mean? Like, it just makes
back
Why
to
are
my
you
Britt
saying
Baker
anybody
problem.
if it's someone from within your own well? Like,
Right.
It makes no sense.
Marky Mark Kayfabe said Kyrie. Now, I mean, like, yeah, I would see that. That's a big enough name. Most people would know who that is. My only thing is, it seems like the top talent in New Japan's women's division, they are not willing to let them really go anywhere else at the moment. And I would understand why, because you sort of don't want to risk your big women in the division that's brand fucking new to get hurt or to have to lose on television, to somebody not within your company. Like, I understand that. It's just it's terrible because Jade has gotten better and now it's just like, there's nothing. And that's the most detrimental thing I could think of doing to somebody in her position. You put a belt on her to be on TV. She's not on TV now, except in these vignettes. And she was getting better the more she had, matches. And now she's really not in matches in a regular capacity. It sucks. It really sucks.
It's kind of Roman Reigns syndrome. It's like you ran through the whole roster, so then what?
Yeah.
Ryan, any thoughts?
No, Sheeta runs into the same problem. You cannot have it be an established star. It has to be someone you make with the win. It's the only way it makes sense. So
Especially
again, Willow,
from within
Willow
your
second
company.
time around, fine, because you actually still have a story there of like she keeps getting closer. Is this the time she pulls it off? And when she does, it's this big heartfelt moment. You could do the same thing with Red Velvet. It's a little harder, but you could still tell that story if you're willing to put in that effort. But but it feels like they have someone in mind. Just none of us can figure out who.
And listen, maybe it'll knock us for a loop and we'll be like, holy fuck, how did we not think of that? You know what I mean? Like, how did we not connect the dots? And it will love it, maybe. But I just don't see the path. I really don't see the path there at the moment. Also, Marky Mark said, did I get the Brit and Jade Amazon exclusive 2-pack? I did. I'm all over.
I think it's Mickey. It couldn't be Mickey James, right? That just feels off to me.
She just further her deal with NWA, or not NWA?
She had it there.
Yeah, I can't remember. I thought I just read something about her doing something with somebody else.
She's been in Impact, but I guess they have.
Maybe it was Impact. Then I just couldn't remember the name. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. We don't have to keep pushing this conversation.
No, I've run into a few things in all of wrestling lately where it's like, I like when a lot of times where I feel like I don't know where something's going. I get nervous when it feels like they don't know where something's going, and that's how I feel about this.
Yeah, I just it just sucks because they're doing a good job with like the women's title picture and this whole like new like imports versus quote unquote originals, like they're doing a good job with that stuff, and this should be one that you can't drop the ball with because it's a title. And usually what we've had a problem with in the past, or I've had a problem with, is the women's title getting lost in the shuffle. And now it's not, which is great because Jamie Hayter's got it. She defended it a number of times. It's in a three-way match at the pay-per-view, all big stars, people that everybody's invested in. Like, I'm really happy with that. Ruby Soho, the whole story with Ruby Soho, like not knowing what side she falls on, like that, this has all been great to me. What's been going on there. I don't know how you forget about the TBS title, because that's supposed to be your television title.
We forgot one really big name that's out there, and that's Bow Wow. I think we can't underestimate that it's probably going to be Bow Wow.
It could be Bow Wow. Now, would it be a straight up intergender match, or would Bow Wow, Mrs. Doubtfire this shit, and then we find out it's actually Bow Wow after the fact?
I like that idea. She's just wrestling what seems to be a person in, let's say, a dog costume. All right. We just assume that it's a gal.
Right.
But then, like, Bow Wow!
Yeah.
Turns out. Big reveal. Crushed it.
Could be a huge reveal. Oh my God. They've been playing us for months. All right. So we get Dustin Rhodes and Keith Lee. Okay. And then we get to Action Andretti and Sammy Guevara head for the main event. And that's sort of like a look forward to the Face of the Revolution match that we got tonight. Sammy Guevara wound up defeating Action Andretti. But Andretti actually sort of dominated most of that match, and looked good. I mean, it was a really, really fun match. And I think this was really like the first sort of big look we got at Action Andretti since, I mean, I know he's had a couple other matches, but this was like a main event good look for Action Andretti since he had the match against Jericho, in my opinion. So I thought it was really good. I thought it was entertaining. And, as much as we have issues with Sammy Guevara and some of the other horse shit that's gone on with him, he's fucking phenomenal in the ring. He really is.
Yeah, this felt like we say like styles make matchups. Sometimes when you're in the same world, that works really well too. And I felt like this was that case where they have some similarities. Super athletic, some really fun like aerial offense in this match. But a great for a main event of Rampage, I thought this was awesome. Fun thing to go home on.
Yeah. And again, it's sort of, to me, it did two jobs from a storytelling perspective, right? You've got this look ahead to the ladder match that happened tonight. So we know they're both in that ladder match. So this is they're going to be butting heads before they even get to that match. So it's sort of lining up how they could go at each other tonight. And also it's still the story between JAS and Ricky Starks, because Ricky and Action Andretti are still, okay with each other. So I thought this actually did a pretty good job with the stories that they've been sort of weaving together. It just, I thought it was really good. I don't know what else to say about it. I just thought it was really good because, we got a really good look at Action Andretti, and he's talented, man. He's really talented. I think he's the sleeper talent that they got signed up to AEW. Now we just have to find something for him to do, whether it's, Ring of Honor or AEW or something, whatever they're going to do, we can get him more involved. But I think they got a nice talent in him.
Ryan Tholomew, your thoughts?
He's awesome. He's filled with a lot of action.
Oh,
no, I mean, he might be dead based off tonight's match, but
sure.
But no, he's excellent. You're right. They got to figure out something for him to do. I don't know if he should stay in AEW or if he should be an ROH kid at this point, purely for TV time, because I don't know where he goes after this feud, after his thing with Starks and the JAS. So they have to make that decision. Part of me wants him to stay in AEW because you do need to have some young talent continue to be in AEW specific, so that you're continuing to use and develop young talent. Part of me thinks he's going to get a lot more time in ROH to develop his character and be a person. So it's a tough call, and we also have no idea how they're actually going to delineate that talent. So I could just be wasting breath because they'd be like, "Oh, we'll put him on everything."
Yeah, I think that's the other thing too. Now with Ring of Honor TV starting up, I'm sure that these lines between who's Ring of Honor, who's AEW are still going to be a little blurred for the time being, and then it will become clearer and clearer as we get through.
So you're saying we're going to have some blurred lines.
Oh my God, that's sort of problematic, Ryan. I wouldn't be singing.
Yeah, Ryan.
Jesus, my God. It is very funny though how he got busted with his wife. Do you remember that story?
I do remember that story. My God.
Oh, that was so funny. Oh, grabbing
Recap
ass.
for the people who might not know.
So, Ryan,
It's
Robin Thicke, he was like, married or whatever for a while. And then his wife found out he was fucking around because a picture went up on social where he was with this young lady and he was grabbing her ass in the photo he took with her. But he didn't realize behind them was like a mirror and you could see him grabbing handful of ass. And then his wife saw it and that was the end of that. Like,
Always
I guess
look for the mirror.
much more came out. Yeah, you got to make sure you're blurring the photo if you're standing in front of the mirror. Hey, that's sort of problematic, but we're going to change it so it's not problematic. It's a freemium version.
There it is.
All right, guys. So we talked about a lot of stuff in the first hour. Let's take a break here so that we can rehydrate, refuel, and also let you guys know about some of the other great programming that is on the brand new, revamped Shining Wizards Network. I don't know about you guys. I'm cool with 96.8% of the programming now in our.
I did my Steiner math, and that's correct. Yeah,
that's about right.
Fucking Duke and Rogue. Yeah,
that's why it's 96.8 because it's like I'm half on Duke and Rogue.
Yeah, that's
Kevin's
cool. That's the one. Definitely that one.
That's the one. But it's funny. I'll break the fourth wall down. I think I said to Millionaire Matt last week, like, hey, we ever think about like corporate synergy, like between the network shows? Like maybe we just start to like put it out there to the whole group, like, hey, you want to like come on our show? We'll go on your show. And I think Matt said something like, I definitely don't want anybody from that on here and vice versa. And I was like, oh no, I 100% want that. Like that is absolutely the one I want. And I said Kate 100% would go to that program. And then we will have whoever from there come on this one. And we will just throw little.
Let's throw it to the commercials.
Let's be honest. Nobody from there is listening. But anyway, we're going to throw it to commercials. So you guys stick around. We'll be back in approximately 7 hours after this block is over. And we're going to talk about Dynamite and some other things that have been going on in AEW world when we get back.
I'd like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in every Monday night to listen to The Shining Wizards. If you'd like to continue to support us outside of listening, we've got a few ways for you to do that. If you shop at Amazon, go over to amazon.shiningwizards.com, do your shopping as usual, and when you make your purchase, a little bit of that purchase price will go back to support the show. If you like to wear t-shirts, merch.shiningwizards.com will take you to our Pro Wrestling Tees store, where we've got over a dozen great designs from over 11 years of professional wrestling podcasting. You can become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/wizardspodcast, where each and every week we call out your name as one of our show producers, and the more you support us, the more things that you're entitled to receive, and believe me, they are fantastic. If you can't support us monetarily, if you don't shop at Amazon, that's absolutely fine. Continue to listen to us wherever you listen to us on the World Wide Web, and make sure you like, rate, review, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Doesn't cost you anything, helps us out, and we can continue to bring you the love fest that is The Shining Wizards.
What's up, folks? It's your boy, the Impact Player, Mr. Philly Ray, inviting all of you to check out the Turnbuckle Throwbacks Wrestling Podcast. Join us as we cover all things current in the world of pro wrestling, as well as paying homage to the old school, the Squared Circle. So listen in and find out why we are the recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment broadcasting. Find us on all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcast from. And as always, we are the proudest members of the Shining Wizards Network and Rant Entertainment Media.
Are you tired of being lied to every day by the mainstream media?
Do you want to know what's really going on in the world?
Do you want to make up your own mind about things and not be told what to think or say?
Then listen to Inconclusive Breakdown, a weekly anti-PC look at the world of entertainment and current events, brought to you without censorship or filters.
You can find us everywhere you listen to podcasts, BitChute, and on ShiningWizardsNetwork.com.
And also, we're a proud member of the Shining Wizards Network.
Got 30 minutes to kill?
Come check out 30 Screams or Less, where we review a horror movie in 30 minutes or less. We cover new movies and old ones too.
We'll give our honest thoughts on the movie, good or shit, as well as a rating of each one that we watch.
New episodes weekly, available on the Shining Wizards Network and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Corey.
Come check us out at 30 Screams or Less.
G'day guys, my name is Thomas, one half of the Broadcast Podcast. With our podcast, we go back and watch wrestling events from WWE, WWF, WCW, ECW, AEW, and many other wrestling promotions. You can check us out on Twitter at The Broadcast, that's THEBROKAST, and you can also download all episodes on Apple Podcast, Castbox, Castro, and many other podcast apps.
If you like your music heavy, then check out Radioactive Metal on the Shining Wizards Network. For over 16 years now, Radioactive Metal has been one of the longest running podcasts. Over the years, we've interviewed some legendary metal acts, had some awesome discussions, and cranked a hell of a lot of tunes. So join your cool Uncle Snowy and his co-host Aaron for the audio mosh pit that is Radioactive Metal here on the Shining Wizards Network.
Well, the action is underway!
What's up, everyone? When on the Shining Wizards Network, be sure to check out Wrestling Night in Canada. If we're not recording another kick-ass podcast,
Or playing in punk bands.
Or recording kick-ass heavy metal albums.
then we're sitting back, we're grabbing a couple brews, and going over everything to do in the world of pro wrestling.
Because we're from Winnipeg, you idiots.
The Mark Order Podcast is the only show you need if you're looking for dedicated coverage of everything AEW on the Shining Wizards Network. Join us live on YouTube every Wednesday night at 10:15 p.m. Eastern after Dynamite to chat along with the show. If you can't join us live, listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on all social channels at Mark Order Pod and use the hashtag #JoinTheMarkOrder, because if you don't find us,
we will find you.
I'm Kevin Rogue.
I'm Al Day.
And we're a couple of down under pounders that co-host Rogue Day Dots, an action figure collecting podcast where we talk about, well, just about anything that tickles our fancy at any given moment.
We're grumpy old men, and sometimes people get on our nerves. And when you get on our nerves, guess what? You get off the lawn.
Get off my lawn, asshole! We also go on a little bit of a mission. We go back and we're grading every wrestling figure line that's out there. I'm talking LJNs. I'm talking Jacks. I'm talking Hasbros. Who doesn't like a little Hulkaplex? It's a Gorilla Brain Wrestling podcast production found on the Shining Wizards Network.
I'm Duke Bags.
Kevin Rowe.
And together we are the co-hosts of Your Duke and Road. If you want to hear about some terrible wrestling shows, we got you covered.
Well, we talk about good ones, too.
We're currently talking about the death of WCW.
I know what we're fucking talking about. Sometimes we get guest spots, like from the Taskmaster. I like to listen to the Your Duke and Rope podcast. They're funny guys. That I like when they talk about the Nards plows. I like Nards plows. That's a good move. And I like the Dungeon of Doom. You know, sometimes I call my butt the Dungeon of Doom. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Oklahoma.
Let me tell you a little bit about my favorite wrestling podcast. All right. It's a podcast for two men. Duke Bags, Kevin Rhodes. They talk about professional wrestling. It's a man's sport. All right? And who better to talk about a man's sport than two men? Oklahoma.
And once in a while, Vince Russo stops by.
Oh, you piece of shit! If you're not listening to the boys. You piece of shit, I don't know what you're doing. It's, you gotta slide one in there. If you're a man, you're talking about something only a man can do. You're talking about sliding one in there. Bro, take the time to slide one in there. All right, bro, you piece of shit. Slide one in there. A Gorilla Brain Wrestling podcast production that you can find on the Shining Wizards Network.
Not enough Kevin Rogue in the new block? Just not enough of Kevin
No.
Rogue talking.
I could tell you one thing. There's one commercial in that block that was produced perfectly, is balanced, and just sounds great. You can be the judge of which one that is, but I think you know which one.
I think we all know it has something to do with being anti-PC.
Oh, you're guessing wrong, but
we have fun. We have fun here. We bust balls.
We
bust
do.
Kevin Rogue's balls.
We do. He's so handsome. He's the handsomest of the Kevins. I know that much.
Sure is.
And yeah.
Before we went to commercial break, you were like, "Stick around," and I was like, "Stick around." Oh, stickers are so cool. I wish I had some Mark Order stickers.
Well, Kate, you read my mind because that's where I was going to go, because I do see a lot of fake news in the chat about stickers and handling fees and processing. So I'm going to set the record straight.
4 easy installments.
No, please
$19.99.
stop spreading these rumors.
You can't put them on layaway.
So let me tell you this. If you do want some free stickers, it's very easy. Don't do that. Don't spread fake news. Come on. I will say this. There was a rumor that on one of those balloons that got shot down, somebody saw a Mark Order podcast sticker on one of them.
Whoa.
There's a rumor, allegedly.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, to be quite honest.
Listen, we tell everybody you can put them wherever you'd like. We don't want you to deface public property. We would like you to display them nicely on things that you ride, like your car or your skateboard, maybe your water bottle. See, I have one on my water bottle here that I don't really use, and there's definitely water in it, probably for like the last month. But if you would like some stickers, the easiest thing you could do is follow us on our socials at Mark Order Pod. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all those things. And then go to the link tree in our profile, and you can click the button that says request free stickers. All you need to do is give us your name, your full mailing address, the country you live in, and an email address, because on occasion I've had to reach out to people and say, hey, I don't have a zip code. Can you just please give me a zip code? I want to send some stickers out. And if you do that, I will send you some free Mark Order podcast stickers. No installments, no process and handling, no shipping and handling. They're free, gratis. I have stamps here. I have American flag stamps. I have some elves left over from Christmas. At one point, we had otters. So you never know what you're going to get. You know what I like doing, too? I like putting those American flag stamps upside down, if you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? We're anti-PC. So see, Ryan's doing it right. He's putting that sticker somewhere that he can display it proudly, where he's not.
It's true, but it just makes me wish that I had a Mark Order t-shirt or some gear, and I have no idea where I could get such a thing. Ant?
You know what, Kate? You can head over to Pro Wrestling Tees, because we have our official Mark Order podcast store, and they're actually running a Merch Madness sale right now. So from now until March 6th, 1 p.m. Eastern, they're running a Merch Madness sale. That's 20% off, and the orders over 150 get free United States shipping. Can't help you if you're outside the United States. My apologies. It is not my policy, but if you're in the U.S., you can get free shipping over $150. Just use code MADNESS23, and then check out the t-shirts we have. We have a couple front prints. We have a couple front and back prints. So, that 20% off, you can get that dual-sided print a little bit cheaper now, if that's what you like. We think there's some pretty cool designs. And the money that we get from the shirts just goes back into the show. So we appreciate if you would like to spend some of your hard-earned dollars on us. We appreciate it. So make sure, if you've been waiting, take advantage of the sale. We have the link directly in our link tree. You can go to prowrestlingtees.com/markorderpod if you're not going in the link tree. And if you do, just go, if you can't remember that, go to prowrestlingtees.com, search Mark Order Podcast, will pop up. You'll find our store.
And I don't know about you, but the past 2 minutes or so of Ryan's podcasting have been my favorite of his best work.
I think it's...
Screw you.
Yeah,
I
what
couldn't
Kenny
make it
said.
out. I couldn't make it out. You know what? Maybe you should just...
Screw you, Kate. Screw you.
It was just like Kenny.
Hey, guys. And here I was going to say, if you're a fan of the Mark Order and you're a fan of me, the hostess with the mostess,
Jesus,
buy some shirts for my birthday.
Sure.
Kate, I was trying to make us money here, and you're just being rude.
If you want to, push the Mark Order on your birthday, you could simply show up at your own birthday party.
It's true. Because
Yeah,
we're going to
it's
have...
not the one you're throwing.
We're going to have a great erotic cake. It's going to knock your dick in the dirt. I'm telling you.
It's going to
I'm
knock
going
your
to one where
dick in the
I'm
dirt.
not called Schlong.
That sounds stupid. Who would go to that?
It does sound stupid.
What an idiot.
What a fucking idiot.
Such an idiot, guys.
So, guys, you want to talk about Dynamite? Because it was the go home to Revolution. Okay, then we're just going to pull this train into the station.
News and notes and
wrap it
I
up.
would like to talk about Dynamite.
I think we should. It was an entertaining show tonight, and we are clearly headed into a lot of stories at Revolution. So we let off the night with Big Bill Morrissey versus Orange Cassidy for the AEW All Atlantic Championship. Thankfully, Orange Cassidy did win by pinfall with the Orange Punch to retain his AEW All Atlantic Championship. We saw some fun stuff going on in this match. Stoke was perfect on the outside. The moment where Orange Cassidy flipped off his beret and then took his glasses that had the flip up sunglasses and he flipped them down. That was fantastic.
Beautiful.
Danhausen came out at one point. He got a fucking cast to the face while he was trying to curse people. So, and Orange Cassidy took a beating. So he did, come away with the win, even though he took a beating. And I thought this match was highly entertaining.
Ryan almost had a Cody Rhodes tattoo there.
I was trying, it wouldn't stick. I was gonna say it, but it wasn't really
Wrestling
sticking.
podcasting has more than one royal family.
You can support the Mark Order with your stickers.
You know what? I would put this out there. If somebody wants to get the Mark Order podcast tattooed on them, like the hand logo or whatever like that, I mean, I would just send you any merch that we have for free. I'll pay for it out of my pocket. If you get a legit tattoo, anything we put out, when we do a Patreon, you'll be Patreon gratis. You'll be fucking t-shirts, whatever. That's a lifetime commitment. So Ryan, get that tattoo, buddy, and you'll never have to pay for a shirt again.
It will buy you a shirt.
That's right.
What the fuck? Why am I paying for a shirt? I'm on the goddamn podcast.
No. You got to pay for a shirt, pal.
Yeah, pony up.
I don't have a free shirt. I got to order one for myself eventually.
That's the one thing about Pro Wrestling Tees. You cannot get yourself your own free merch.
Well,
no, absolutely.
We're going to order bulk merch. Don't worry about it.
But as we're talking about that, Ricardo's in the chat asking if there's a way to support us money-wise. Not yet. We're getting there, Ricardo.
We are working on it, Ricardo. We were talking a little bit about it last week on our 100th episode, which you can actually check out in the archives in any of your podcast platforms or on YouTube. You can go watch our 100th episode. We talk about it a little bit, Ricardo, some things we want to accomplish in the next 100 episodes. And that's
mostly
definitely
Ant's OnlyFans. Mostly.
I mean,
but you can go to our Pro Wrestling Tee store if you want to buy a shirt.
You can. That's the way to help us financially at the moment.
We're working on some other stuff.
We are.
But this opening match was great. Orange Cassidy obviously selling the ribs later intensely, but this was a lot of fun. I like the use of Orange Cassidy's reign here. Like, it's been a lot of main eventing Rampage. It's been a lot to open the show. Like, he's such an over wrestler from a crowd perspective, and his matches are great. Like, he's a really, really great wrestler, and his energy and the way the crowd reacts, it's a really nice way to close out a very long night if you're at a Dynamite taping. A very long night if you're watching wrestling and this is going off at your TV at 11. Or to open a show. It's a really nice way to get an easy pop that's going to be reliable and fun. No complaints about this opener. Love the stuff with Orange Cassidy and Stokely. If you follow his indie feuds, Orange Cassidy's indie feuds, they did a lot of really fun work on the indies with Stokely and Orange Cassidy. So a tale as old as time, or at least like 8 years. So go check that out if you have more of an interest in
Orange
that.
and the Cassidy.
Nailed it. Voice of an angel, Ryan.
Nailed.
But this was really fun. Really fun.
Ryan
Tholomew.
Did you love it or did you hate it? It's okay if you hated it.
Hated it. What was that from? From
Fucking
something.
Living Color.
Thank you. I knew it was a show. I was
Wow.
just blanking on the reference
Deep
that I had in my
pull.
head.
Z Snaps.
Yes. So it was amazing. I love the use of Orange Cassidy's. I didn't say amazing weird.
No, it was amazing. And it was like, did you love it or hate it? And you were like, it was amazing.
Listen, I'm not gonna say I hate it. The use of Orange Cassidy's comedy was not only fun and funny, it was so logical, which I really appreciate when they do that, which is he's facing a guy much bigger than himself. He doesn't want to get hit. The whole goal is to tire that guy out and avoid all the damage. So you roll out of the ring every time you're thrown down. So you jump over the ropes to avoid being hit. You're not getting hit. You're pissing off the guy and you're tiring him out. Like, it was a very nice strategy. I wish they had let him break the full Nelson by putting his hands in the pocket. I wish he had gotten all the way down to it, but I don't think his hands would reach. I think that was part of the problem. But this to me shows what real quick. We're going to get to something I disliked greatly later, Rob. So don't you worry. I got some anger. And by that, like this much. No.
Let's just say disliked greatly.
You won't commit.
Jesus Christ. I didn't even do that on purpose.
You just will not commit.
I was so mildly unhappy with it. I got to tell you.
I was mildly dissatisfied.
He heartily disliked something.
If it was a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being great and 1 being atrocious, he was like at a 3.5.
Yeah. He wouldn't even commit to being in the middle.
On the negative side.
It's not even negative when you give that middle point. Like, he's just like, I'm in the middle.
I love it.
I will say that Big Bill Morrissey, because I refuse to just call him Big Bill. Big Bill Morrissey is one of the better big man wrestlers. Like, he moves really well for his size and he gets it. I think if you could give him a character that works, or just like let Stokely actually be a proper manager for him, he could be a lot of fun. You saw it in a match against Orange. Like, he worked, like, not every big guy can work a good match. Even if the small guy is the best wrestler in the world, it's not always, doesn't always work. And they worked a really fun match. Like, I was highly entertained.
Do you think he can reach levels that only Tyrus has touched?
Well, have we seen him try to do a splash off the second rope?
That's going to be, that's the litmus test. You're right.
Once we see that, if he lands on his feet somehow and then rolls, we'll know he's at that level.
I will say this. This match started me asking Mrs. Money, who was watching with me, a number of times that I would ask Mrs. Money yay or nay on some of the talent.
Sure.
And so Kate, this reminded me of what you texted me about last week for some possible bonus programming. I think it initially opened up by me saying when Big Bill Morrissey entered next to Stoke, I think my exact quote to Mrs. Money was, goddamn, Big Bill must crush Lexi Nair.
Lexi Nair.
And she was just like, yeah, and she's gotta love it. And I was like, okay. What about Big Bill? What's your thoughts on Big Bill? And she was like, her answer was something to the effect, and I'm sure if she was listening, she would correct me here, but it was something to the effect of, like, his face doesn't do it for me, but like his body's a 10. So, I mean, if he asked me, you want to smash, I wouldn't say no.
Wow. All right.
She said, I think her exact quote was, I'd do it for the goof. I'm like, all right. That's quite a goof.
I'd do it for the abs.
I mean, so, and that was, Kate, that was the answer. Just so you know, that was the answer to a bunch of the ones I asked about. Because at one point, I'll let you know who the next one was. I was like, now, maybe? And she was like, for the goof, sure. I wouldn't say no.
For the goof.
And I was like, but.
Guys.
Yeah.
Will he go on Fox News and say dumb shit?
Why do you need him to go? Why do you need Big Bill to go on Fox News when Tyrus already has that on lock?
Bill can take it from Tyrus, and then Gina could be getting her goofs in with a Fox News star. See, it all goes round and round.
That would be a very fast, hard no at that point.
A fast and hard no, just like.
Can I at least
hard,
mention
like Big Bill? Never mind.
Can I
like his matches? Get your head out of the gutter.
Yeah, okay. Can I at least mention the fact, since you brought up Fox News and Tyrus, there have been nights I do check out, like on my cable, when I never look at the guide. I just fucking channel scroll. So I start at CNN and go up because it's like CNN and then you have a bunch of other stuff and like all the other channels. And so directly after CNN is Fox News on my dial. And one night as I was flipping, it was Gutfeld, but he wasn't on. Do you guys know that I believe Tyrus is the fill-in host when Gutfeld is not there?
I did know that because it was in a Super Bowl commercial, sadly.
Well, yes, I did see that commercial. And it's fucking awful, but I did not know that Tyrus was so well received that when he's not there, he is the host. And if you ever stopped on Gutfeld and saw any of his monologue stuff where you would expect there to be laughs and there was just nothing, it's worse when it's Tyrus. Trust me. It's
awesome.
worse. It's so fucking bad. And if I was NWA or whoever, whatever belt he's got, I'd be like, please don't put this on television with you. Like, please, whatever you do, just don't.
He's slinging it over his shoulder.
Oh, it's so fucking bad. Anyway. So the match was... what? Oh,
Luis is our wonderful moderator at Pipeline. He said, oh, hello, everyone. Oh, God, I've come in during Tyrus Talk.
Yes, this is our new segment, Tyrus Talk on the Mark Order podcast.
Nope, I quit. We're done.
Oh, that's the excuse, Ryan.
That's it.
She's like, there's my out.
Honestly, I would probably be following her if it was to become a regular segment.
I've got polls for things I gotta say on commentary. I'm making Simpsons references I don't get.
You've got polls, all right. You've got polls, and you don't use protection. Just be careful, Kate. You've gone on record before with us and said that. So nice opener. We do get a recap of the Moxley Evil Uno match from last week, and Mox has a pre-taped promo. He is streaming with blood down his face and his chest. And he says he can taste it. It tastes like victory in life. That's what he's about, living life to the fullest. He's sick. He does this because he likes it. It's not something he's proud of. That's or what's to be aspired to. And he tells Hangman that only one of them is going to come out of Revolution. And he reminds him that Hangman wanted to do this. Mox tried to leave it alone. He beat him once with no credit for it. Adam beat him with the worst injury he's had in his career. And then John beats him again and he gets nothing for it. It's a fluke. It's not real. Well, this time he's not going to leave any doubt. Page is a great wrestler. He even says he's a great man. but he's not the same animal as Jon Moxley, and there's only room for one of these animals in AEW, and he will die to protect what's his. And guys, here's what I didn't realize until a few moments into that promo.
He was bleeding a little bit. Did you
I had
notice that?
assumed. Now, that's exactly what I was going to say, and that's not me trying to be a complete jerk off. I literally thought that it was just sort of dried blood on him, and until the camera pulled back and I saw the pool of blood on the ground and then the continued droplets hitting the fucking ground like rain, I had no idea he was bleeding, but he was fucking gushing. Holy shit. And then you know what I immediately thought of? Some poor motherfucker's got to clean up all this goddamn blood.
Yep.
Some poor asshole has to get a mop, probably do a hand wipe on it, because it's a lot of fucking blood.
That should be some like jobber hazing job. Like
It's Wheeler's job in the BCC.
There you go.
It really should be.
A little like young boy action.
So, listen, I mean, we know we have to build to this match, right? So it's just it's just a promo building to that match, but I thought it was a pretty nice one out of Mox, reminding us of how we got to this point. I didn't have a problem with it. The bleeding thing, I mean, it is what it is. Mox gets a lot of criticism for bleeding, and I'm sort of along the same lines. At some point, the blood has to mean something, but I also think at this point, his forehead is like tissue paper, and it doesn't take a whole lot to split him open. But I mean, he did get hit in the face with barbed wire, so you sort of expect him to bleed. But boy, was he gushing.
Blood in wrestling is always weird to me, because in one respect, I'm like, okay, they're overdoing it. In the other respect, I'm thinking, go watch the UFC. They probably should be bleeding a hell of a lot more. Like if you compare it to like an MMA fight where they bleed constantly, because getting hit in the face, your face bleeds kind of easily, and they're not wearing gloves. And theoretically, in real, if you hit with a bare knuckle, it's going to cut you. Like that's one of the disadvantages of your knuckles, is they can cut you. So I get torn on the blood, but I think he's just doing it to troll everyone at this point, because he sees the complaints and he's like, fuck you guys, I'm going to bleed every match. However, made awesome and great imagery for the promo to be bleeding like that.
Especially going into a Texas death match.
Yeah. It's like, I'm already dead, man. I'm already bleeding. What are you going to do to me? It was an awesome promo. I think he's one of the best talkers when he wants to be. I'm sold.
This has been a really nicely built little feud. It hasn't felt like it's dragged on like a lot of other feuds that we've seen, in my opinion. They've done a nice job of escalating how personal it's felt, which has been good. Yeah, he had a gusher of the blood.
What if it was just a gusher that was fake? He just took some gushers and smashed them on his head, and they were just...
The next promo, it's like blue raspberry. Just like...
Yeah, why is it all blue? Oh.
We're like, oh god, it's losing oxygen now. But this is great. And I loved kind of pure babyface Mox. I also feel like this is his wheelhouse, like dirty babyface Mox a little bit. It's nice to kind of get back to his aggression. But I really like this. I thought this was a whole heck of a lot of fun. We'll get to pages later, but this has been a nicely built, well-paced feud, especially considering they had injuries. Like most of the length of this feud was Mox taking a 2-week vacation and Paige big legit injured. And I think they did a really good job with it. This was a perfectly suitable little promo to keep it rolling down the hill.
Keep rolling. Yeah, sorry.
No one in wrestling's used that before.
No.
Well done.
I'll say this because this leads into the Elite's entrance, getting interrupted, lights going out, come back. The House of Black is behind them. The lights go down. We hear some violence, and the lights come back up. The House of Black are holding up the trios titles, and the Elite are down and out on the stage. I'm sort of tying these two things together because we've seen the lights on, lights off gimmick before, right? So it's nothing different from the House of Black. But I will just say this. all of the things they've been doing and that they did tonight with the build to the show Sunday have felt right to me. And I can't fault them for it. They're leading you to the card and they're giving you reasons to feel invested in these matches, especially like you just said, Kate, with the Mox and the Hangman. I mean, we'll talk about MJF and Danielson, but we've talked about them for the past few weeks. That whole build has made you feel really invested in what they're doing, and we've really had no reason to feel invested, and you have to be invested with a 60-minute Iron Man. But I really feel like they did a really nice job tonight with these vignettes and these live promos and such to really get you invested and up to speed on what's happening in this pay-per-view and why you should care about it. So I didn't have a problem with this little vignette. It sort of felt weird. Like I was like, oh, I didn't know the Elite were supposed to appear tonight. And then of course I was like, oh, they're just going to get jumped. Like, and it happened, but I don't have a problem with it. You've got to build the drama in the match, you know?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that have been critical of the way they've built it out, which is what I disagree with. I think the builds have been good. I have problems with certain things. It's just the things, and we'll talk about this later, that I'm not invested in. I'm super not invested. Like, very much. Like, this tag 4-pack. No.
We'll talk about it. I definitely want to talk about that.
Swerve and Keith Lee, for example, like, I'm excited for the actual match part. I feel like it was cooled off way too long. The things that I'm like not invested in anymore, I'm just like very not. But the things I am invested in, I'm very invested in. And I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see where this goes. I think it's House of Black's times. The inevitability of some of the outcomes, of course, always kind of takes away from it, but that's only leading up to it. I feel like predictable is good when it's good, and when the wrestling is great, I'm fine with it. So, but this was fine. I do get a little fatigued on the lights being out. Like, at some point, the Young Bucks have to think, like, "Hey, I wonder if the lights are going to go out and we're going to get jumped because these motherfuckers always show up." But nitpicking, like, overall, I'm very excited for the actual match that'll unfold too. I think that's going to be a whole bunch of fun.
Schlong, did you have any problems with the lights out jump gimmick?
So, it's going to surprise you guys.
Oh,
but I liked this.
Okay.
What?
I know.
I'm disappointed.
I won't lie. I do sometimes get a little annoyed about the lights gimmick. There's going to be a thing. We'll talk about it with Jungle Boy's video where I thought they were doing a lights out gimmick for him and I was about to lose my shit, but that was just poor planning. I liked them beating them down, holding titles. I like that this hasn't been an overly scripted or promo heavy feud, like, because I think that would work against it. Keeping it kind of a little more mysterious plays in its favor. I will say this is the one match that I don't know the winner, because I could reasonably see House of Black winning. Maybe not, but I could, like, it could happen. So this is the one match I'm like, maybe. So we'll see. But I quite enjoyed it.
There's actually a few matches on the Revolution card where I'm sort of like up in the air. And I actually had that. I have the card pulled up. We'll talk about it when we get through Dynamite, because I'd like just your takes on a quick rundown of the card. So we'll get there. But let's move on with Dynamite. We go into the Face of the Revolution ladder match. So Samoa Joe comes out to commentary. And it's Action Andretti, AR Fox, Eddie Kingston, Takeshita, Ortiz, Sammy Guevara, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Commander making his AEW debut. And for those who may not have known who Commander is, you sure fucking know who he is now, because he is one of the most sure-footed fucking wrestlers I've ever seen. And if you thought Phoenix was good, walking ropes and shit like that, you now know Commander is maybe better than Rey Fenix. This match, I'm always not sure what to expect out of a ladder match. This might be one of the best ladder matches I've seen in a long time. I mean, and I'm talking ladder match with like more than 2 or 3 people, because there's a lot of bodies in this match. Everybody's trying to get their shit in. I thought they worked this out really nicely, actually. Cutting to the end of this match, I was very happy to see Powerhouse Hobbs wins, retrieving the golden Sonic ring above the hanging above the ring. Gotta get that motherfucker a bigger fucking ladder, because
you couldn't get down.
That was a precarious situation at the end. It also didn't help that he broke the ladder when he fucking plowed through it at the end. So at the end, it looked like Takeshita was going to get the ring. He knocked the ladder over, essentially breaking it. You saw the referee scramble in to hold the ladder because this was the end. And I was happy to see Hobbs win it. After the match, he does confront Samoa Joe. He goes up the ramp, but Wardlow comes out, and security sort of swarms out to make sure they're between everybody. But Wardlow throws guards around. Hobbs laughs, and Joe, escapes. Wardlow powerbombs security guard off the stage into the pit. So we're sort of building this whole story because Hobbs gets a shot next week at the TNT title on Dynamite. We don't know who's going to come out of the pay-per-view with the title. So there is this whole 3-way story that still hasn't been resolved because Hobbs was involved in the Full Gear 3-way for the TNT title. So I liked the way this happened. It was very funny to see Hobbs. Not sure if he likes heights. It looked like he didn't, because he was on the very top of that ladder. And then just to mention a couple other things that were crazy, we mentioned Commander walking ropes and doing all sorts of crazy moves. Action Andretti with a spot off the top rope.
Oh boy, that did not go as planned.
No, the Takeshita Blue Thunder Bomb off the ladders onto the ring mat. Sammy Guevara climbing up that like 20-foot tall ladder. And swan-tanning onto can't remember the fucking names. But that was fucking wild. Just a lot of crazy shit in this match. I really like this. I don't like every ladder match. This one was really good for me. Kate, I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in here. Ryan, what did you think? I think you had a problem with this.
Oh, clearly had a huge problem with this awesome ladder match.
I knew. Oh, fuck.
Was worried for Action Andretti because that looked bad. Getting your leg caught in like that. Now I think he saved Sammy from a bad injury because I watched it a couple times and it was like Sammy had hit Andretti, not the ladder, which would have been bad. So I do see some people not liking that the refs were holding the ladders and all that. My argument is there's at least some logic there where the refs could be like, if we don't hold these ladders, these guys are going to die, and I don't want to see that. So I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt of being like, let's hope they don't die. Think of what else. So that I will say, I think Orange Cassidy runs the ropes better than Commander. I've seen him do it with his hands in his pockets.
It's true.
I kept thinking there's no way they're going to top this move. And then Commander flips off the rope. And there's no way they're going to top this move. And then AR Fox flips off the rope. And there's no way they're going to top this. And Action Andretti flips. And there's no way to do this. And Commander does something I've never seen. Like, Jesus Christ. And meanwhile, Powerhouse Hobbs is just like, I'm just going to toss everyone.
Yeah.
But I do agree he was not steady on that ladder. He did not enjoy it. He's the only person who might make that ring look half small, which was kind of funny. Samoa Joe was awesome. I like that they brought these 3 back together. The only thing is, I think they should have held this off until after the pay-per-view, but that's just me.
My guess is that they probably had to take something off of the pay-per-view, and this was supposed to be on the pay-per-view, because you have a 60-minute Iron Man match. You can't really shove a bunch of stuff onto the card. So if you had to take one thing off, I guess you put this on free TV to sell it, That's just my guess. Kate, I want your take on this, but just so you know, this was the second point in the night where I asked Mrs. Money. I was like, Wardlow, yay, nay, and it was for the goof.
Wardlow for a goof?
I thought maybe losing the ponytail would change the tune, and I think it was the same thing. Body's a 10, face not so much, and I would do it for the story.
We got to really talk to Mrs. Money. Her taste sometimes confuses me.
Listen,
especially like who she married.
I agree. Listen,
he's a Jen. You don't talk about her husband like that.
I don't fit the mold though. Like I know her tastes, and I don't fit in any of the molds. It's pretty wild. I'm like, I don't know what happened. Anyway, I'm no niece. I'm no Wardlow or Big Bill even.
Maybe you were the one that hit the charming face that she's been looking for this whole time.
I guess my face was a 10. My body was a 2. So she was like, I'll take the face.
You stop. Be nice to my friend. I'll just add some of the spots in this were insane. Takeshita was unbelievable. I love that blue Thunder Bomb spot is awesome. Eddie Kingston and Ortiz just
that's right. Yeah, they had to be separated in the back. That's what they said.
Separated in the back.
Also, you mentioned Takeshita. I don't mean to cut you off. Don Callis. Don Callis watching in the back, watching Takeshita. So they are continuing sort of like, is he recruiting him? Is he not? Like, what's going on? So I like that.
The second Samoa Joe decides to hang it up, they need to have a contract in their hands to sign him for a commentary. Holy shit. He's so awesome. He was great at it in WWE too. I just adored how much he was like, imagine going through all of this to then just lose to me next week. Like, I love. He's a great face, but man, is he a fun heel. Just so much fun. And his presence is such that like you kind of buy it. But loved him on commentary. Added a ton to this match. Always does. Match was crazy, super fun. Hope Action Andretti's okay. Hope everybody's okay just from the spots that went right in this. Makes me nervous sometimes, honestly, but I always find it funny when it's like a spot fest and then the guy who wins was the guy who was just like chilling out on the side for a while. It makes him look smart, that's for sure. Also,
no, you know who looks smart? Eddie Kingston and Ortiz, because they just got to the back and said, fuck this.
Yeah, they were like, I don't need a title shot.
I also didn't, just to touch on what you said, I didn't mind what happened with Hobbs at the end, because remember, him and Takeshita laid each other out.
Right.
So, like it sort of made sense. Like they were like, Hobbs is still down from colliding with Takeshita, like.
It was justified. It wasn't like, I'm playing past them. And even if he's a heel. I can't argue that. I don't know if he's going to stay a heel. Crowd was real excited to see him win.
It was a hometown crowd. So that
that's right.
Explains that. Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that. The right call booking wise, for sure. And I guess we're going to reignite our triple threat. So there you go.
I also, by the way, enjoyed after Sammy's swanton on the outside off the ladder. I really enjoyed, because Garcia had come down to get in the way. I really enjoyed that Garcia picked him up and got him in the ring and then was essentially carrying him up the ladder.
Yes.
That was perfect.
Unreal.
I loved
so
it.
Good.
All right. So
badass do I look, guys, with my bandana?
You look like Prison Ryan.
You do. What was the worst part of prison again?
The Dementors.
Oh, the Dementors. How about the food?
Gruel.
Okay. Guys, we do get a backstage medical update with Renee Paquette. Checking on
green snakeskin pants. Sorry to cut you off, but it was
I thought she looked great.
She looks great.
Somebody texted me in a group chat going on, and they said Renee needs to get those guns in the sun, and I was like, don't you fucking speak about Renee.
Don't you say
fine.
Even a 3.5 on a scale of 5 word about her?
No. It'd have to be we'd say scale of 6, right? Because 3 is the midway point.
That's right.
No. 5 is the
5.
midway. That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Excuse me. My math
Get it
was
right.
Sorry.
She's a 25 on a scale of 5.
Oh, right. I'm just saying in the positive to negative comments, you can't even go below Ryan's harsh line of 3.5.
No. So she's checking in on Chuck Taylor.
How is Trunt?
Trunt is good. But Chuck Taylor and Trent are not cleared to compete in the Battle Royal. So Danhausen says that he and Orange Cassidy are also best friends, and they're cleared to compete. But Orange Cassidy is there getting taped up. He's hurting. But Danhausen is so confident and says he's got tons of room in his bag, Orange Cassidy that is, for more titles, and asks directly if he's good to compete. Orange says he doesn't care. So looks like they're in, and they're replacing Chuck and Trent in the tag battle royale later. So we'll talk about that later. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was sort of like, okay, this is where maybe we see somebody else slide into the mix, but we'll talk about that later.
I got opinions.
All right, you got opinions.
I was
We'll talk
slightly
about
dissatisfied.
Slightly dissatisfied. That's harsh. This is now, though, leading into Kate's match of the night. Chris Jericho versus quote unquote pretty Peter Avalon.
Whoa. Back it up, mister.
Yeah.
What was with the quotes?
That's how he's billed. They are quotes around pretty.
I don't care how they bill him. You know better, and you call him pretty Peter Avalon.
He's the hottest
pretty
boy in AEW.
Now I'll say this.
I love him.
I see
put
your
our initials
tattoo.
in a heart.
Oh, your hand tattoo is. Can
I'm
you
trying
make
to
that
look
real?
like
beyond-
a 56.
It's now beyond the lust of saying, I want to fuck Peter Avalon. It is now escalated to where I think he might be my M if Eddie Kingston's not in the picture, partner.
He's the one that she
And Eddie
wants.
Kingston,
He's the
according
one
to the internet and the TV, he quit AEW, so I don't even know if he's eligible.
Well, we'll see. But I will say this. Avalon was hard out of the gates in this match. He really brought it to Jericho. But it did not last because Jericho wins with the code breaker. Pretty Peter Avalon is not even good enough for the Judas effect. The code breaker takes him out. Post-match, Jericho wails on Peter with Floyd until absolute Ricky Starks makes the save, but Jericho bails out, grabs the mic, and he tells Stark he's going to beat the hell out of him one-on-one Sunday because the JAS isn't going to be at ringside, but they're there tonight. And that's when Garcia and Hager jump out of the crowd to beat Ricky down. Hager hits a spine buster. Garcia hits a rock bottom. Jericho gets Floyd, but then he decides to hit Starks with the Judas effect. So they're just trying to play up, I think, some of this injury. Like they called out on commentary, Starks had the injured ribs due to the JAS, and that even though they're not going to be at ringside, this is certainly going to affect him. So, again, building to this match on Sunday, we know why they had the match because PPA was not happy that he couldn't get that open challenge last week. Kate, I have to go to you first, but I'm going to go to Ryan to see what you thought about this match.
I thought the prettiest one. Wow. She hurt herself. I thought the prettiest one looked really good in this match. He
Jericho?
showed that he had.
Of course he did.
How dare you? How fucking dare you? See how badass I am now? Don't mess with me. I thought the prettiest one looked good.
Right,
I
Jericho.
think he showed some anger that was fun to see. And fans, both in person and online, responded. Clearly, everyone loves the hottest boy in AEW.
He was mine first, the
Jericho.
internet. You back off. Internet.
Jericho
and
is the
live
hottest boy in AEW.
No, he's not, Aunt. Chris Jericho ain't nothing but a heavy metal hedgehog who needs his lackeys to do all of his work for him.
Wow. This sounds like a biased reporting.
It is a biased reporting. I love Peter. He's pretty. He's the hottest boy in AEW. He's uncomfortably my F on FMK.
Shush your lips.
To the highest extent of the law at this point. Sincerely, silly as we are about Pretty Peter. It was nice to see him on television. Like, this was a really solid match. I liked that he jumped him out of the gate because they had that match on Dark, and he should be pissed that Jericho interfered with a potential shot with Ricky, right? Like, that's a big deal, a pay-per-view match. So I really, really, really liked that he came out with tenacity. This was really fun. Match was really good. Popped huge at Peter Avalon calling him a heavy metal hedgehog on Dark. That's just awesome. Because he had all the prickly gear with the metal spikes all over him the other day. This was really great. It's encouraging to see. I also like talent being used in this way. Like, you don't have to have everybody winning everything all the time, but like, this is a really good use of the wingmen. Good use of Pretty Peter here. Just nice to see the refreshed talent pool a little bit. We're getting to see Dark Order more, right? We're getting to see the wingmen. Things I've been whining about for a while. So great to see Pretty Peter in action for real. Great to see him get a warm reception. Match was really good. And then post-match, I was encouraged because wrestling math tells us this means Ricky Starks is winning. So I hope that's the case. I think what we kind of discussed last time of Big Show or someone else, because they very specifically said JAS. They changed the graphic to say nobody else is allowed at ringside. So the JAS isn't allowed at ringside. Whether it's Paul White, reuniting Jericho, or someone else. I think maybe Action Andretti screws it up for Chris Jericho again, and this feud pivots to Jericho versus Action Andretti instead of Ricky Starks. And Starks can move on with a pair of wins against Jericho. That's a big deal, as AEW has told us, like with the way Jericho's presented. So I think that could be a really fun program. I just hope it isn't like Action Andretti turns on Ricky Starks and now he's a part of the JAS. Like, I don't need it to go in that direction. I feel like we've seen it go in that direction too many times. That's OG Peter. We saw short-haired Peter tonight.
I will say this, Ryan, and I was going to actually call this out. I know we've seen Pretty Peter Avalon's look tonight for a little while now. I'm going to say I enjoy this look a lot more. It's just an updated look, right? Like, he's still pretty. He's wearing the pants. He's got a more modern look. That look, the long hair, the robe, that was fun, but it clearly needed an update.
This was the heartbed era, Peter. Okay. Which belongs with a long hair mustache situation. Pretty Peter, who's fighting Chris Jericho, coming in hot with a clean haircut, refreshed facial hair. I agree. Heartbed, a classic, still looking great. It's important to evolve. And sometimes that evolution is a haircut.
It's true. It's the most simplest of evolutions. And a wardrobe update.
Yes. Looks great. We love Peter.
Sure, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Us as a unified front.
Okay.
Not out here calling Chris Jericho the hottest boy in AEW and...
Well, he's hot. He's not... I didn't say he was pretty. He's hot.
That's fair.
We move on to Hangman Adam Page cutting his pre-taped promo. He's in a barn somewhere. He's a cowboy, so that makes sense.
Yeehaw.
He said he talked to Dark Order earlier, and he doesn't think Alex Reynolds meant anything by it, but asked if Page was afraid of losing, and Moxley can't take his memory because it's gone. He can't take the feeling in the tips of his fingers because that's gone. But he can take Mox's spot on the top of the food chain, and in the end, he'll be the man left standing. He doesn't enjoy violence. He hates it to its core, but on Sunday, he'll be the most violent and bloodthirsty son of a bitch he can be, because that's the only way he can win. And in Texas death, there's only two ways out. You live or you die. And after Sunday, John will never be the same. So
yeah, the promo was great.
I didn't mind I was gonna say I didn't mind the promo. I'm trying to see what we've got going on there because my screen is tiny. Okay. All right. Enough. Enough. We're past that.
Are we?
So,
never past a flexing Pretty Peter, but this promo was great. I'm just gonna go so that you can't boomerang it to Ryan.
Or maybe you want this Peter?
He's so pretty.
Look
at him. Look at how happy Dasha is just to be in the presence of Pretty Peter.
Look at those abs.
In that situation, he's not the prettiest in the picture. I'm just telling you.
Dasha's a crush. I'm telling you.
Oh my god.
This promo was great. I really liked the kind of like I have nothing left to lose thing. Like he is trying to mend fences with the Dark Order, right? He said that a few weeks ago. He lost the championship. I love him being like, I lost my memory. Like I've got nothing left to lose going into this. It feels really personal. It feels like a big blow off. I think a Texas death match is appropriate for these two in this situation. And I'm looking forward to it. That should be good. But both promos tonight were very well done.
Yeah, I think that this promo was exactly what it needed to be, and so was Moxley's, right? It's been, sort of this build to something that needs to be a blow off. And I think they both did their job. I mean, I don't know if Ryan has anything to add because he's no
as long
longer
as he's doing this,
let's just keep
That's
fine.
Keep rolling.
I like the promo.
Okay.
Oh wow, Ryan liked something. Thanks for the newsworthy update. Let's go.
Christian Cage makes his entrance to be interviewed by Renee Paquette. And he says he can't wait to not come back to San Francisco for another 10 years. What is happening?
I wanted to make sure this full one got changed.
Why? How did you hack my desktop?
Don't know, but I did.
Don't be weird, man. This is...
So Christian says he can't wait to not come back to San Francisco for another 10 years. Heat with the crowd. He doesn't want to blur the lines of reality. And he says...
Asian Joe's comment.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that.
I just saw it. Sorry.
Yeah. I was just trying to... Yeah. I mean, if you want to call it out. But he did say, look at those cum gutters.
He did. And I smartened you up to what they were.
You smartened me up to what they were. Yes.
I did, yeah.
It popped me when the first time I heard it. All right, Ryan, we get it. Stop trying to get...
I was done until I saw this picture and then it just made me laugh.
Stop trying to get Kate
business
all hot and
casual
bothered.
Peter.
You have to have a cash look.
It's business cash Pete. You could be going to happy hour in that outfit. It looks
For
great.
the better part of last month, Christian Cage embarrassed Jungle Boy. He beat him down at will, and he was done with Jack until he turned on the TV and saw him say he's going to win singles title. And that'll be over Cage's dead body because Cage says he's going to win a title this year. He sees that Jack's been winning by quick pinfalls. That's fine. But do you want to win a title or do you want to beat somebody for a title? That's rhetorical because he already knows the answer after Perry jumped him from behind like a coward. And then he hesitated, and what happened? Cage showed him how a real man conducts his business, and then he left him in a pool of his own blood and piss. I mean,
back that up a second. Who
Yeah.
showed him how a real man conducts business?
Cage.
Oh, it sounded like you said Kate, and I was like, wait a minute, what's Kate doing on the side?
I did.
Sorry. I didn't see the piss, by the way, but I'll take Cage's word for it.
Sure.
Yeah, me too.
Cage couldn't figure out why Jungle Boy wants to win a title, and he doesn't care about the prestige. He just wants to impress his family and get some likes on social media. And his problem with the whole generation is that he treats his business like it's a video game. People like Jungle Boy are a dime a dozen. Cage, I'm sorry, old man Christian Cage, because this was very much get off my lawn. Christian Cage says he's one of one, and he treats his business like an ATM machine, and he's not milking it dry, but it needs to end. So he's got a challenge for Jack on Sunday, and not a wrestling match, but a fight. No rules, no regulations, just a fight. And the sad reality is if he doesn't show up, He's just his father's son, and just like his father, he's a no-talent hack who should be thankful he's got good looks to skim on by. He's not a closer, and he doesn't give any grit. He doesn't have an ounce of what Cage has. And then the lights go dark, and it's not. This is where Ryan had a little gripe. It's not an appearance like the House of Black, but it's a Jungle Boy video, and he's digging a grave by headlights. Cage doesn't respond, but they do show that it's a Christian Cage headstone on the grave. So, it did seem very much Gran Torino Christian Cage in this. Get off my lawn. Very much like a man yelling at clouds.
That one I know.
What?
I know that Simpsons reference.
Oh, that one you know?
I do.
That's because it's been a meme.
Yeah.
So again, I don't necessarily have a problem with the build to this. We're blowing off this story that hadn't been finished, right? Like, Cage got hurt. This is going to be the end, and then we're going to move on.
That's gotta blow him to finish him, as I always say.
Whoa. All right. No protection. Blow him to finish him.
It's just
swallow your pride.
Paraphrasing what you said.
Okay.
I don't like it. I don't have a problem with. I actually like a lot of the work that Christian has been doing. Do we have to mention Jungle Boy's family every promo? That feels a little much. And I thought the Jungle Boy piece of this was corny as fuck. And my bigger problem with this is that, like, we know what this feud is. Like, it was Luchasaurus and Christian, and we already had a stipulation match with Luchasaurus. Do we need a stipulation match with Christian Cage? Like, to finish this up? It feels like redundant and weird. I don't know.
But I don't know if there's a real stipulation. He just said we're going to have a fight. I don't know if they're actually doing a no rules sort of anything goes match, unless they said it and I missed it.
I'm guessing it's going to be a lights out match based on the lights going out.
Maybe they should just have a fucking graveyard match or whatever.
That was perfect for what it was. We don't need to do another one of those ever again. But I just feel like, I don't know, if you have a cage match already, like, this is carrying on that same feud an entire pay-per-view
now you need
cycle
a Christian
later.
Cage match.
No, you don't. I don't know. I kind of wish they just moved on.
What do you think, Bandit?
Well, kids, I don't understand the promo that Jungle Boy did. That whole video.
That was weird and corny.
Yeah. And I was real annoyed when I thought he was coming up out of the dark. I was like, that's not my Jungle Boy.
I will say this. I did like the one thing about the video I did like. I won't disagree. The fucking dig in the grave thing was corny. It's because it's not Jungle Boy's thing. If anything, that's a Darby avant-garde thing.
Of course.
So stop stealing gimmicks, Jack.
Jack.
But I will say this. I did like how they spliced into that video the footage of him second-guessing concertoing Cage. So it does make me feel like he's going to take the step over the edge on Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to hesitate, and he's going to do something we haven't seen out of him and, like, finish the job.
No, Edge is in WWE. He can't do anything with the Edge.
Step over the edge.
Again, in WWE, how is he going to step over him?
Metaphorically speaking. Just step over Edge's dead body.
Okay.
How is he going to Copeland? Adam Lee.
Shivani's backstage with Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Hayter says she doesn't know what's going to be sweeter, beating one bitch or two. And Britt tells Saraya she can watch two former champs duke it out, but she'll never have the belt. And Jamie tells her to try some shenanigans because she'll be there watching.
Didn't she also say something about you can look, but you can't touch?
I don't know. She might have. I didn't really pay attention.
Yes, they made a Bella's reference.
I hope it's just a reference, because God bless them. I don't need to show up at AEW. But this is fine. Does anybody feel like Ruby might go over?
This is one I'm not sure. I would certainly love to discuss this once we get through Dynamite, because the match card for Sunday is not that big, so we can run through it. But I have some thoughts.
Postpone that conversation.
Let's postpone it.
Stick a pin in it for now.
Let's stick a pin. Can we put a pin in that? Let's put a pin.
We'll strike it.
We'll circle back.
We'll circle back. Maybe we'll blue sky it. I don't know. Guys, we get into Hook versus Matt Hardy for the FTW Championship. Now, here's something I didn't realize. Maybe I wasn't paying attention before this match sort of happened. But I didn't realize that if Hook won, he was getting a no DQ match against Stokely with the Firm banned from ringside. I just really must not have been paying attention to the storyline. But what was fantastic was that anytime Hook had the edge in this match, not the Copeland, the edge.
Right. The guitarist from U2.
That's right. The edge. I loved how they would cut to Stokely and he's just looking worried and like really just
rocking in a corner,
wide-eyed, like, motherfucker, no. I also enjoyed that he took his cast off for Ethan Page to get a shot in on Hook. And this was certainly I think one of the longer matches we saw at a Hook. He was sort of in deep water and he didn't just run away with this match because he had a lot of shit to deal with. But that didn't matter because Hook did win by submission with the red rum. Matt Hardy tapped out awfully quick. And after the match, before they cut to the next promo, they showed sort of Matt Hardy in the ring sort of sitting smiling. So maybe this was something Matt Hardy wanted. Who knows? We'll see how they play this out. But
Matt's playing the long game.
This is the long con. I also enjoyed Isaiah Cassidy ringside wearing the Mona Lisa shirt. That was fantastic.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're setting up, this Stoke no DQ kind of storyline with Hook. That's fine. Hook looked good again tonight. Didn't have too many problems with this. It was what it was. It was entertaining. We got to see Hook on TV, so I didn't have a problem with it.
God bless to all the hookers.
For real.
Did you guys see Stoke's tweet?
No.
If I wasn't sure whether the guy singing a copyrighted song or not, I would play it for us. But he made a tweet to Hook, Tony Khan, and AEW, and it's an image from a courtroom where this guy's convicted of a crime. He starts singing "I'm sorry" to like his victims. Of course, Stokes got Hook, so that's really funny.
His Twitter game is always on point. Much appreciated. Him rocking in the corner, losing his mind was really, really fun after this.
Yes.
I am excited to see it.
Did they say when that's happening, by the way?
They did not. That feels rampagey. That feels like a perfect Rampage spot.
It feels rampagey or it feels buy-in?
Oh, yeah, that feels that should be a buy-in match. That would be fun. That would be super fun. Because then it gets Hook on pay-per-view and people will be like, who's this guy? I'm going to buy the pay-per-view. I'm in. This is fun. This was really fun. Nice to see Hook on the television.
Ryan, you had a problem with this? Is that what you're signaling?
No, I love it. This is a continuation.
No surprise.
This is not even a continuation. This is an addition to a storyline being told on Dark and Elevation between Ethan Page, Stokely, and Matt Hardy and Cassidy, and I love it. And they're doing a really good job with that story. So I'm glad to see elements of it starting to go to the main show because that is one of the best told stories in wrestling right now.
I'm shocked that Ryan really liked
I am too. I really am.
Just wait till I'm slightly dissatisfied in a little bit.
Oh.
Strong words.
Really?
I also like that Matt Hardy kind of left it open to interpretation because I think it would have been really funny if he just was like, oh no, and kind of laid down for Hook. But this is a fun way to play it too. Of like, well, did I or didn't I?
It was a quick tap.
Very quick.
Is it the Stokely Hathaway screw job? To find out.
Very well could be. We get a House of Black promo. They're holding the trios titles because we saw them take those titles earlier from the Elite. And Malachi Black is talking about, the fear eating at the soul, and they're going to leave the titles because they belong to the Elite, but know that on Sunday that you've already lost them, and then they walk off. So again, building to Sunday,
people gotta hold on to their titles in this company. Nyla Rose was running away with Jade's, going on car chases with it. Hold on to your titles.
Everybody just basically putting burglary on TV is not helpful.
No, it's a felony.
It is a felony.
You really got to hold on to what they've got. Doesn't make a difference.
So Riho and Tony Storm happens next. And you see what I did there, Kate? You like that?
I did.
See what I did in response there, Ant? Did you like that? Okay, so Kate, Rio and Tony Storm were next. And Rio had a really good showing. Rio is actually a former champion. And I think commentary did a fairly good job of highlighting that though she's small, she uses her size to her advantage because her opponents underestimate her, and she actually delivers quite a punch. So this was a nice back and forth match. But at the end, you had Britt Baker come out for some shenanigans because, you can't have not shenanigans. And Rio got the win because of these shenanigans. What did you think?
Well, I think Riho was a formidable opponent, as you said, for Tony Storm. No doubt about that. This is pretty good. I feel like Rio is still a hard buy-in for me for some of the spots that are in here, but they definitely agent her matches better than when she was first here. Like it's because she seems like she's 100-pound soaking wet. You gotta have a more diverse skill set. You gotta have it be more like a Sasha Banks where you're doing backstabbers and being sneaky about things. Nice to see them diversifying the women's talent pool as well. I mentioned it with the Dark Order, and I mentioned it with Pretty Peter, obviously. Nice to see them bringing back some names on the women's side. But this was what it was. This was a perfectly fine match. We knew that it was going to be used to advance the story with the bigger picture here. This is a match that I don't mind is in the 9:30 slot or its kind of usual spot because this felt like it had the least implications on the card. So it makes the most sense to me.
Yep.
Ryan, your thoughts?
After the match, we get the typical brawl between Saraya, Tony, and Britt. It's a whole thing. But, you knew you were getting that. I was shocked that, that they were willing to throw in Ruby Soho, because why would you throw her in, right? Oh, wait, they did. They just, I get sick of these brawls a little bit. Like, okay.
Is this the thing that you were mildly dissatisfied with?
No, but I just realized as I was thinking about this, mildly annoys me. Like, let these brawls sit for a little bit. But overall, I thought it was, like you said, it was a good placement in the card, and I thought it was great. I thought we had a third who could provide us his insight, but I guess not. So we'll just keep moving on.
If we were really doing a switcheroo, I feel like Ant would have to be like putting on weird hats right now, or like
just like the hand movement. I said I was going to move on.
Oh,
you already know what was your favorite.
Now you want my opinion? You want my opinion?
Hey, you muted me first. Do not act like this was.
Just trying to keep this train on the tracks, my friend. Just trying to keep it moving along.
I think I just moved us quickly through a match.
I could tell you this much. I'm not a huge fan of Riho. I see why they did what they did with the shenanigans. I think we're going to get a Tony Britt buy-in match to keep Britt's streak going because they were brawling on the floor. They've clearly got a problem. And you've got everybody else involved in the title match in the pay-per-view. I personally didn't mind the brawl because, again, Ruby didn't show her hand on which way she might sort of be going. And they, I think, wanted to sort of just reiterate that because she made the save for Jamie and then turned around and knocked the shit out of Jamie. So, again, I think it just made sense for the story. While I agree with you, Ryan, at times, yes, I do want them to cool on the brawling. In this sense, I just think it made sense to the story. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, we're just telling the story, and I think we'll see eventually either Sunday or maybe next week, we'll see sort of Ruby show her hand a little bit. I think she's going to make a decision and we'll see 7 later. That's my take.
We appreciate your take, Ant.
We
Okay.
do.
There was a Dustin,
or you want to?
No. I'll take it back. Don't worry. You can just sing and pun along. Dustin Rhodes and Keith Lee cut a promo. We don't have to go too far into this. I will say this. I am not a huge fan of their naturally limitless tag name that they want.
Naturally, you wouldn't be. I got my pun in.
Okay. But I guess they're going to have a match on Friday. So, whatever. Listen, it's Dustin's final run. So if this is what he wants to do, let him have it. And Keith Lee's back in the picture. So,
I feel like that feud had so much heat, and then they did the cinder block spot, and Keith Lee went away, and now they're trying to heat it back up, and it feels very medium to me.
Yeah, I mean, they pulled Dustin into it. I don't know. It is what it is. I'm not really big on this mogul affiliates yet. We haven't seen much out of them.
Not because they're dorks.
I just don't know. Let's see what this Trench guy can do. He's got to be more than just a badass name, right?
Trench?
No, there's no question mark. If anything, I feel like it would be an ellipsis after his name.
Trench.
I don't know.
Trench.
He's pretty dug in.
Oh my God. So now we're getting into our main event of the evening. Oh, sorry, it froze. Sorry, I'm back. My bad.
Guess who's back? See, that's how you do it, Ryan.
Boom.
Learn from a fucking professional.
There you go.
Anna's back.
Oh,
tell a friend.
Listen, Jesse Ozog is asking.
We have to do what the people want, right?
We can mute Ryan, but he's shown that he is
logged in, unfortunately.
What's that?
Can someone boot Jesse?
No. I enjoy Jesse.
We're here for the people.
Yeah. I'm not going to mute you, Ryan, because you're retaliatory.
Of course I'm retaliatory.
So anyway, we get into the Contenders Casino Battle Royal match. So the first, the Dark Order make their way out, and they get jumped by the Blackpool Combat Club. And now we're underway. And for those who don't remember, the Casino Battle Royal rules are very much Royal Rumble style. So after whatever period of time, a new team enters the ring, and as it was for last week, the Battle Royal is that by the Battle Royal tag rules, both members have to go out of the ring to be eliminated from the match. So, you can win this with one member of your team staying in the ring. We're going to cut to the finish here because I don't remember all the eliminations. The winning team winds up being Danhausen and Orange Cassidy by last eliminating the Butcher and the Blade. So they are the third contenders to the World Tag Team Championships at Revolution. Post-match, the jump is on from Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. And then the Acclaimed come down to make the save. Now, I see the logic in Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal making the jump because that was set in motion by the Guns. That is clearly Kate's favorite part of this. I will say this. I was very surprised to see the Kingdom super kick Maria Kanellis, who's fresh off of fucking thyroid surgery. So that was fun. I'll never understand and it's a thing that we've all taken away from Millionaire Matt, but the top rope spots in a battle royal just make no sense. And I think commentary even said that at one point, like, you don't go to the top rope in a battle royal.
Yeah, it's dumb.
And the other thing is I have to give it up. Miss Money, all the credit in the world. She gets the win with this one. This afternoon, we were talking about something, and I said to her, "Hey, isn't it bullshit that Tony Nese doesn't get a shot at this match after all of the teams last week get basically a new shot?" And she said it. They're going to cost the Lucha Brothers or whoever, they're going to cost them the match because they eliminated them last time around. So she gets the win because they make the jump, and she gets to see a shirtless Tony Nese in jeans.
Woohoo!
So she was 3 for 3 tonight on her boyfriends. And if you count some of the other for the goofs and maybe fringe boyfriends in Trent,
Fringe boyfriend.
she got more than she bargained for. So, all right, I definitely want Ryan's take on this. I will just say this: I don't understand the Danhausen Orange Cassidy getting in. I don't. Do I necessarily hate it because we continue to say we want to see different people involved in some of this stuff? Yeah, but at the same time, what the fuck are we doing with these tag titles that were so important? Like, that's where my brain is sort of at. Now, Kate, I do want to throw to Ryan because this has to be the spot that he is mildly disappointed with. So
Just trying to prepare myself for a
let's
mildly
all,
disappointed Ryan.
everybody listening right now, I just want to say strap in, because we're going to hear a lukewarm Ryan, and not his take is not lukewarm, his temperature is lukewarm because he's not hot, but he's not cold. He's lukewarm because he neither loves or hates. He mildly dislikes this. So
took my glasses off to try to appear serious, but it's really disorienting not being able to see. So putting those bad boys back on.
Okay, let's hear
This
it.
is already starting off incredibly mild.
Yeah.
Well, like I couldn't see, so.
Ryan, this is
that
where
shit, that-
this is
that
where we want
bitch.
your slightly dissatisfied take.
Why call it a casino battle royale, knowing that the minute you name anything casino, people assume there's going to be a joker, because in most of your casino ones, there is a joker. So you've set the precedent. You have a tag team out there that everyone wants it in. They actually fit in the story too. So like, you don't even say they don't fit, they do. Why call it a casino? Or why not say, hey, just a reminder, there's no joker in a tag team casino battle royale? Because that's the argument. So they haven't used jokers in the tag team, except their tag team battle royales have had 15 teams both of the previous times, and this had 10. So you had fewer teams to begin with. So no one knew the count that they ever had. Why call it a casino battle royale and then just disappoint your fans? It's stupidity. It's the same thing they did with Mercedes Moné, which is you could avoid all this if you just don't, if you just called it the second battle royale buy-in or something, some stupid name, or established there will be no joker. These are the 10 teams.
I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because the casino battle royal is the style, not the fact that there's a joker. Casino in their battle royal terms is just the Royal Rumble style of having people enter on intervals, not everybody be in the ring at the start like a classic battle royal.
But your casino style is predominantly known for having jokers that are either a debut or a return.
Okay.
Why do that? Because you know what you're setting your fans up to believe, that there's going to be a surprise entrant who's last tag team. And then in their heads, they go, well, what's the one tag team that's not around that we all want who fits into this story? FTR.
Okay. I'll stop you there again, because they never at one point said there's a mystery team.
Okay. And I'm going to stop you there.
Okay.
When if the Royal Rumble this year came out and said, and never once told you the amount of wrestlers in the Royal Rumble. They just said, we're going to have guys in the Royal Rumble. And then they had 29 and they didn't have 30. And people started being like, the fuck's the 30th? You wouldn't say, well, they didn't announce. Well, but they explained where he went. You wouldn't go, Well, they didn't announce 30. They just said it was a Royal Rumble. You'd be like, no, because tradition has established this thing. So when you know you've established this thing for your own battle royale, you have to know that people are going to go with what history has shown. When history has shown is that these jokers pop up, and that's a big deal.
But
And you have this tag team all hovering out there that everybody wants to see. And they changed the count. They completely changed this.
They didn't mislead anything here. So you're going based on an assumption. So that's
I'm going based on what they've done in the past.
But they
you use
in the past,
a
hold
match
on,
type
hold on,
that
hold
you've
on.
established.
But in the past, they have always said ahead of time there's a Joker entrant. They've done it in the past. They've said there's a Joker. They never said that explicitly this time, as well as the fact that all of the match graphics that they showed leading into this, there was never a like a blackout mystery team involved. Everybody was laid out in the graphic.
When you establish that a match has a certain flow, and every time, and everyone comes to know this match for that one certain thing, you know the minute you name this match that kind, that's where people are going.
But they didn't. So
No, my argument was true. If the Royal Rumble had 29, you wouldn't say, well, then they didn't say there'd be 30, so it's okay they didn't have 30. You'd be like, wait a minute. They have 30. What the fuck?
Right.
It's the
and
same thing.
In the past, when that's happened in the Royal Rumble, commentary has called it out. They have. I mean, in the past, there have been Royal Rumbles where there were like supposed to be 30 and they ring the timer counts down and nobody enters. And then they sort of come up with a story as why somebody didn't come in, injury, or they were jumped or whatever.
So you can have commentary the week before. You can have it at any point say, oh, by the way, we know you're used to a Joker. There is no Joker. But we know we've trained you to expect this.
But you're okay. I understand what you're saying, but they never once led you to believe there was a Joker. I understand what you're saying, but they never once swerved you here.
They led us to believe by calling it that. By calling it that and
didn't.
establishing the match that type, you've led us to believe there's a Joker.
This is
the minute you name it a match that has that.
This is my same argument with the Mercedes thing. They told you who the opponent, the mystery guest was, the mystery partner was the week before. Everybody thought they were going to change it, but they didn't. They told you who it was the week before. Hints, all this stuff. I mean, Britt Baker did it tonight. She said she made a reference to the Bellas. I mean, they make references to stuff all the time.
How was this a casino battle royal though? Because they didn't do the seats either. Like this was just a battle royal. So if you are going out of your, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. Like
the casino element is just the countdown entrance.
That's not how that works.
That's just a battle royal then.
No, it's not.
That's a battle royal. That's a battle royal.
A classic battle royal is everybody starts in the ring at the same time, like they did last week. Bell rings, everybody gets in the ring. That's a battle royal. The Royal Rumble, or in AEW, the casino style.
I don't know.
That's the differentiator. It's just a timed entrant into the battle royal.
There is a difference where if they had come out and flat out said there is not a Joker, fine. But when you name a type that has been using this thing the entire time you've done it and it's become known for it, not saying it does not mean you've said that's not going to happen. You just haven't had to say it. It's the same thing with my Royal Rumble count. If you don't have to say it's 30, when they say Royal Rumble, you know it's 30 participants. You just because you've established your own precedent. But they tell you what they go out of their way to tell you that then. So they should have gone out of their way to say there is no Joker. Because they've established the precedent that there is a Joker. They don't have to. They've set the precedent that it exists.
In every
you guys just disagree. It's okay.
But in every prior casino battle royal where there was a Joker, they have said there is a Joker entrant in this battle royal. So to your point, they have said in the past there's a mystery entrant. They didn't say it in this one. All of the graphics leading to this didn't show any mystery entrants. They were very clear with everything they did that there was a set number of teams and they had it lined up. If they wanted to do something like that tonight, they would have said, okay, the best friends are out. Orange Cassidy and Danhausen aren't in. There's going to be a replacement team. That would have been the way to do it.
I think you're both right in that technically they didn't tell us that, but if you ask anybody what the first thing they think of with the Casino Battle Royal is, it's probably the Joker. So I don't like it because it does feel like you're booking for heat, which I think is stupid. But I also think it is right in that technically is a bad way to book your wrestling program. Like I just think it's a silly you're setting yourself up for people to be authentically disappointed in something, which is just a silly way to go about it. But I have so many bigger issues than the rules with this fucking match.
But this is also my same point. This is also my same point with the whole mystery partner. People think it's going to be Mercedes, and they told you the week before. If you bought a ticket to the show saying it's going to be FTR, and it's not, and they've never once given you the idea that it's going to be a mystery team and it's going to be FTR, and you bought the ticket, again, buyer beware. Card subject to change. They never once led you to believe there's going to be a mystery team, and they were hinting at it being FTR.
Precedent, I think, is a fair thing to say hinted. But I just think I don't think they're going to get sued over it, but I think it's a dumb way to go about things, especially because there's a really big difference to me. I think what they did with Mercedes was worse, but that was wrapped in a very, very, very strong show. I feel like what they did here was let you down and then also deliver a stupid fucking outcome to the match. I really do. I think this is fucking dumb. I think if you look at their previous 4-packs that had like Santana and Ortiz and the Bucks and Kenny and Adam Page at Beach Bash, like, this is fucking dog shit. I'm sorry. I have no interest in seeing this unless something happens, unless FTR comes back heel and wipes someone out. I don't give a fuck about any of the 4 teams that are in this. This is a stupid outcome, and you did it after setting, and you're totally welcome to your viewpoint on that. The overall expectation is if you're doing a Casino Battle Royal, there's probably going to be a Joker, I think. Whether they hinted that explicitly or not, people think Casino Battle Royal, they think Joker. That's been the way it goes, especially on a go home to pay-per-view where you're setting up a tag match where the tag team that's not in it, there's a story for. My hope is that they come back with Punk, but he's still got a way to go from injury. So what the fuck? But my way bigger problem with this, other than the rules, is that the outcome is fucking dumb. I don't have an interest in seeing any of the 4 people that are in this be tag champions. It's trash. You have the deepest tag division in the world. I don't understand why, when you have other teams, you're giving us a backup best friends team instead of Butcher and Blade, Dark Order, Wingmen, Workhorsemen. It is so much worse than I don't like what they did either. Whatever side of the fence you fall on, fine. The outcome is equally, if not equally, it's 10 times worse. To now have 4 tag teams that who gives a fuck if they're holding your title in this. I'm sorry. Nobody gives a fuck about any of these teams. Having a 4-pack on your pay-per-view with 4 teams that nobody gives a shit about is worse than what they did tonight. It's dumb. Who gives a fuck about any of these teams, including the current tag holders, if the story isn't to transition them back to FTR? So unless FTR is taking someone out beforehand, which is a waste of doing this entire battle royal anyway, fucking dumb. Trash. Trash, trash, trash. You're the best tag division in the world, and these are your 4 representations of it. Nobody fucking cares about any of these.
Yeah, I just don't understand the best friends like switch here, unless there is for some reason a legit injury to Trent or Chucky, and they just decided, well, we'll leave the best friends sort of in this 4-pack, and they were supposed to win anyway. I
think they're like protecting them, because how dumb is it going to look if they lose to the Guns and Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal? But it's not. It just looks stupid.
I mean, I just don't. Part of me, again, it's sort of like we can't part of me is, it's like, I don't know how I want to word this. I don't know if, like, I don't love it, but at the same time, we continually say we want to see the next crowd up, right? And in some case, like, okay, so we're seeing Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett are in there. The Jeff Jarrett thing is like, okay, whatever, but Jay Lethal's involved, and that's fine. But I don't get that. The Danhausen Orange Cassidy, as I love to see a Danhausen push, I just don't see how that makes sense here. The Acclaimed, they're in it because they're hot. The Guns are the champions, and I don't know what's going on with the Guns. Somebody like the Butcher and the Blade, they can be next guys up. I think that, could top flight, I guess. Yeah, for sure. The Lucha Brothers, I'm just trying to think back through the Lucha Brothers. Like, we don't need to see them in this picture. We've seen them so many times before, right? Like,
Silver and Reynolds.
Silver and Reynolds,
Bear
certainly.
Country.
You could. I mean, but Bear Country hasn't been involved, or whatever their new name is. They haven't been involved in this picture from the start, right? So, like, I wasn't even counting them. I'm just sort of like looking at the teams that were involved. We don't need Blackpool Combat Club. Aussie Open isn't really in the Kingdom. Maybe,
Who do the Guns look stronger for, having beat any of these teams? Because the Acclaimed ain't taking the pinfall.
I just want to say this. This match that's happening on Rampage is better than the one that's happening at Revolution.
100%. Not even
Top Flight versus Silver and Reynolds versus BCC versus Aussie Open. That's a better match than the one we're getting at Revolution.
And I don't even understand how Aussie Open fits into that.
Me neither, but it's just insane that it's a better match, and yet this is just on a Rampage.
Do you actually want to know what I wish we were just getting on Rampage? Just give me Silver and Reynolds versus Claudio and Yuta.
Me too.
Like, it doesn't even need to be a 4-pack.
Right.
Like, because the story's there with, Dark Order and Blackpool. Like, so that's just, like, I don't even understand why they need to make it like a 4-way match. Like,
yeah, because it's a live Rampage before the pay-per-view,
right. I understand why they're doing it, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, I don't know.
I'm sort of like, that's a better match.
Yeah, I'm just sort of like mixed. You know what I mean? Like, I'm mixed on it just because it's like, we want to see different people involved in the picture. We're just not necessarily sold on all the people involved. So, here's the other thing I just want to touch back on, not to reignite an argument here, but to date, this was the third tag team casino battle royal they've had. The first one they had was at Revolution in 2021. They had another one on Dynamite on March 2nd, 2022 at Daly's Place, assuming that was before the pay-per-view. At Revolution, there was I don't believe there was a Joker team.
I covered this. Sorry, there wasn't, but there were more teams. So they changed the rules. My whole thing is, it's the only match in the history of wrestling where when they change the rules of the basic match, they don't tell you that. That's just weird.
But they told you there were going to be 10 teams.
But again, you've established this match as cards with Jokers and all this. You should go out of your way. If Hell in a Cell happens and all of a sudden Hell in a Cell...
There's been 2 other tag team casino battle royals. Neither of them included a Joker team. So there's no precedent.
Teams. They don't play by their own rules. And no one thinks about them. You had to go look. How many singles have there been? How many singles
casino battle royals? There's been 4 men's. There's been 2 women.
At the 4 men's versus the 2 tags. That's what people think is the 4 men's. You have to go out of your way to establish that it's different. You do, because you were calling it the same thing but giving it different rules.
It's the style of match.
No other match does that. No other match goes, this is the style, but we have totally different rules.
We're 2 hours and 50 minutes into the podcast, and it's 1 a.m. Can we move on?
It's just I think it's your assumption is.
I think the first thing when you hear Casino Battle Royal, to the average fan, the first thing they're going to think of is, oh, dope, the Joker. They're not going to be like, oh, dope, intermittent entries into the match.
But that's
they went out of their way to create disappointment for people, whether it's
They
the
anything else.
fans' fault or not. Like,
it is the fans' fault, 100%.
Okay, but the fans are right.
Call it anything else.
The fans aren't right. You're wrong.
But in wrestling world, you're just setting them up for disappointment. That's it.
If that many people think it's one way, then you've done something to make them think it's that way, and it's on you to make sure they don't. Just don't call casino, and
I'm telling you the honest to God truth. At no time did I think there was a Joker team, because they never once said there's a Joker
take
involved.
Everything 100% literal to what they say. On a lot of fans don't, because they change things so often. People assume Joker. It was all over the place. And if you have that many people, then you've done something to lead them to believe that, and you need to fix it. And you know the easiest way to fix it? Either flat out say it, or just don't call casino.
You know what?
Call it intermittent battle royal.
You know what? You know what happens when you make assumptions?
Yeah, and is it an ass?
You make an ass out of you and me.
Well, see, you're an ass. I was right.
I'm not an ass.
Can we do predictions? I'm tired.
The final thing that happened on the show was we had the promo from MJF and Danielson. However, we really didn't hear anything out of MJF. We saw something on MJF that we can talk about for sure. But the Dragon comes out, and basically, starts to run his mouth, and then MJF comes out, and Brian interrupts him, tells him to shut up, and he's heard all the different reasons why MJF hates him, but the Dragon starts to lay out reasons why, lays out the reasons and says Max thinks that he deserves all these things, but he hasn't earned them, and he's done nothing to fight for them. Friedman has taken every shortcut, and if there's one thing he deserves, it's his fiance leaving him. And the reason I bring this up is because this poor woman just continues to get brought up. So, shoulders to mats and banging rats, that's what MJF said, right? So that doesn't seem like somebody who wants that Danielson wants his daughter to marry. And MJF takes his jacket off to fight, but Danielson's ready to fight at any time. He's fought depression, poverty, shoulder injuries, brain injuries, and the Authority. And he's fought for everything. Before he came here, he had a job that would pay him the rest of his life, but he came to AEW because he wanted to fight. And his new dream, since he's come here, is to be the world champion, and he's willing to fight for it. So Max, he says, on Sunday at Revolution, you'd better be ready to fight with everything you have for 60 full minutes. And if he doesn't, he'll get his fucking head kicked in. And that is the end of the show. MJF basically grabs his jacket and leaves. MJF with a giant herp on his lip. Not a great look for somebody who's just broken up with his fiance. That's all.
I think he got stiffed pretty hard from Danielson. And it was
well, yeah, I know. I'm just saying. Looked like a herp. So the reason I even just bring this up, guys, they wrapped this pretty quick, but it made sense to me. MJF has gotten every word in. Now it's Danielson's time. I thought this was a great way to wrap up the build into this pay-per-view. And it seems totally personal between these two, even though it's a very loose sort of personal story. And I think it's really giving you a lot to be invested in, and you have to be invested for a full 60 minutes. It's a lot to ask. And I think there's a lot to chew on with this story, and I think they're going to put on a fucking banger match. So I thought this was a good way to wrap up the night. They don't often go out, with sort of like a promo like this. So it's a little bit different for them, and I didn't have a problem with it. I don't know if either of you guys did.
Yeah, I thought it was fucking awesome. Love what we've seen out of Danielson on the mic in this build. His Iron Man was like my favorite. With Hangman, it was just, I don't think I'd been so gripped in a 1 hour match in my life. Like, that was incredible what they did. So I'm very much looking forward to this. Looking forward to seeing MJF wrestle. And I don't know. I really like this build. I think a lot more than a lot of people have. I've had no problem with it. I've gotten to see Danielson wrestle banger matches. And I still think MJF's going over, but I feel like it sowed enough seeds of doubt that it would be a delightful surprise if Danielson won, and I think his reign would not be long before giving it back to MJF. But I don't know. I think it could be. I think it's going to be a blast of a match, and they did a good job kind of sowing seeds of doubt. Even though I think I still know what way it's going to go. I still have. There's that 1% chance. So you're saying there's a chance. So I liked what they went home on. I thought MJF's face told the story just fine. That was good.
Ryan, any problems with this?
No, I mean, I think it was weird it had so little time at the end of the show, but they're trying to put emotion behind the feud. I get it. Hours can be real tough sell.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot to ask everybody to be invested in 60 minutes. But I think they did a good job building it. They really built the excitement here. And they give you a reason to be invested for 60 minutes. I also agree. It seemed like it was way short on time. I think a couple things just went long. I think the ladder match probably went a little long at the end there, seeming like having the ladder problems, and maybe even that battle royal went a little longer than it needed to. So it probably left them short, but I didn't mind it because when you're just going to have Danielson talk and there's no room for MJF, it fit the time. It was perfect. So no issues there. So if we look at the card for Revolution, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches on the card officially announced. So the tag team championship match, that 4-pack is the Guns versus the Acclaim versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett versus Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. We're not playing for any stakes here, but where do you guys think this is going to go? I honestly now feel like the Guns are going to hang on to these belts.
Yeah, if this stays the way it is, then yes.
So,
like unless FTR comes out and takes somebody out, yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's a path for FTR to show back up at this pay-per-view and get a huge pop, and set something up. But, you know, I don't think they're going to turn around and give the Acclaim these belts back. I don't
think so either.
So we also have Chris Jericho and Ricky Starks. Honestly, I don't know which way this is going to go. I hope it goes Ricky Starks, but there is that chance that somebody else comes out and saves Jericho's ass.
I think that person gets equalized by Action Andretti, and Ricky Starks wins. And Andretti costs Jericho again, and then we get a rematch between Andretti and Jericho.
I think that's the best outcome.
I'm trying to be hopeful because I can't do another match with Jericho and Ricky.
Schlong, you think it's Ricky Starks' time?
He better fucking win. I do want this. I'm with Kate. Don't drag this on.
It's funny because I bit hard last week on him being like, I'm moving on from Jericho. It's like, all right. And then I was like, fuck. But, you know. The TNT Championship, Samoa Joe and Wardlow. Honestly, guys, I don't know how this is going to go. Because with Hobbs winning the shot, I don't think you give it to Wardlow and then Hobbs loses. I feel like Samoa Joe has to win and then Wardlow has to take it off. Hobbs has to take it off Joe and then we get Wardlow Hobbs at some point. That's how I feel like it's got to go. So I would say that Samoa Joe retains, but I'm not 100% sold on that.
I'm going with Hobbs. I think you're going to have a hard time keeping him heel. But I think...
So who comes out of Sunday?
I think Hobbs wins. I think
Hobbs isn't in on Sunday.
Oh, I thought they were setting up a triple threat. I'm dumb.
No. So it's just Sunday is just Samoa Joe versus Wardlow, and then the winner of that goes against Hobbs on Wednesday. So that's why I'm saying I don't think you can let Wardlow take it off Joe Sunday and then lose it to Hobbs, and I don't think Hobbs loses his shot on Wednesday. So I think
it's got to either be Samoa Joe retains or there's some funky finish here where they turn that back into a triple threat.
Yeah.
So my guess is it's actually a rare non-finish, but if I had to choose, probably Samoa Joe.
I have Joe winning. I have Joe winning. Yeah.
Do you see it then coming off Joe?
Yeah, I don't think they want him to have it long. I just don't. I don't understand having Wardlow win and then having Hobbs take it from him, and I think Hobbs takes it from Joe. So because I think Wardlow's run wasn't that great, so give it to Hobbs and let him have a run with it.
Well, this one's up in the air on Sunday. I think it could go either way, but I have a feeling it's going to be Samoa Joe. Page versus Jungle Boy. I think we're all in agreement this is Jungle Boy's match.
Yep.
I think it's got to be, and then we move on to something else. Women's Championship, Jamie Hayter versus Saraya versus Ruby Soho. I honestly don't know how this goes. You can make a case for anybody winning the title here. If you put a gun to my head, I would maybe say it's Ruby Soho's time, but I really just feel like Jamie Hayter's like the fans are so behind Jamie Hayter as the champ, but I think they're behind everybody sort of in this match, so it's really tough. I would have to pick, if you're going to make me pull a pick, I'd say Ruby Soho, but I wouldn't hate it if Hayter retained.
That's exactly where I'm at. I think it's Soho is transitional to somebody. You could make a case for Saraya. You could make a case for Hayter retaining. I think it's very possible that Britt turns back on Jamie and Britt's back on the heel side of things. Jamie is a face, no title. Maybe Jamie's the one to dethrone Jade. Who knows? But I think I could see Jamie Hayter actually with that title, workhorse title. But I don't know. Something in my gut just says Ruby, so I'm going with it.
Schlong, who do you think walks away with this one?
Hayter.
You think it's Hayter?
Hayter Potato?
Hayter retains.
I could also see there being a path to Britt turning on Jamie because Jamie loses, and Britt's like, you held that belt for like a month, or however long it was. Like, I held it for a year. Like, you're not even on the same level. Somehow that drives a wedge between them. I don't know.
Sure.
I thought about Britt screwing Hayter, but then that fucks with the Saraya Tony Storm story heavily.
A lot of guys have thought about Britt screwing Hayter.
Well, I mean, my goodness. I mean, I'm just asking, I'm not trying to continue the conversation, but like, is there a reality where Saraya does walk away with this belt? Like, what would that accomplish? I mean, I could see them doing it because it's Saraya, but I just don't see what that accomplishes in the title picture.
Well, you have a heel champion again, so you get some faces going up against her. Ruby not having picked a side, I think, makes it way more interesting if she wins. But Saraya, I think, just for her actual legacy in the industry, you probably don't realistically have a ton of time with her. So if you're going to put the belt on her, it's probably going to be sooner rather than later. But, you've got Britt and Jamie as faces. You've got Ruby likely as a face. You've got Willow as a face. Like, you have a slate of face competitors that could make a lot of sense. So I wouldn't be stunned by any of the three options. I think the most likely is actually Hayter. My gut just says Ruby for some reason.
Yeah.
Maybe because she's already gone up for a couple title shots and lost. It's like, well, if not now, when kind of thing.
I get the face for the chase argument if Saraya wins. My only fear is, again, we sort of get into this Jade sort of story where it's like, okay, you run all these faces against Saraya and she doesn't drop that belt quickly. And then it's like, where do you go? You know what I mean? Like, that's my only fear.
It's a reasonable one. That's a reasonable one. I just think you have a good slate of faces to... I don't think she holds it long if she has it. I don't think it's going to... Certainly not 3 years. So yeah. I think it could just be Willow. It could be, Chris Statlander when she gets... Chris Statlander coming back to take it from her could be really fun. There's a lot of ways you could go. But if it is Saraya, I don't think it's a long-lasting reign. I think it's just to put the feather in her cap.
Yeah, I also just don't want to see them continue to like make this belt sort of like transitional, like every month or two, it's sort of changing. You know what I mean? I don't need to see people hold it for like a year and a half, but like
longer than a pay-per-view cycle. Yeah.
Right. So it should be a fun match either way. We also have the Trios Championship, the Elite versus the House of Black. I think it's the House of Black's time. I think this is what they were lining this up to be anyway before the brawl out. So I think it's House of Black.
Speaking of brawl out, the kids are saying this is where FTR and CM Punk could come back, which would be my dream scenario, obviously, to cost the Elite. My God, that's just like a year of stories just sitting there. But either way, I think House of Black wins. So I think that could be really fun, regardless of.
To be contrarian, I'll go Elite.
Just to be contrarian, or do you really think it's the Elite?
It's a 50-50 for me, so I'll pick the contrarian side.
Really? Interesting. Texas Deathmatch, Mox versus Hangman. I think this has to be Hangman. I really do. And I think Mox has to take a longer break.
I think Hangman too, just because I think there's a lot for Hangman to gain from this and not a lot for Moxley to gain from this. And I don't think it hurts him to lose it really. So I would also go Hangman.
Schlong, contrarian here?
Hangman. No, it's Hangman.
Would you be mildly dissatisfied if it was Moxley?
No, wouldn't be dissatisfied at all.
Okay.
I think this is the way where I think Hangman wins, but Moxley makes him look fucking 10 feet tall. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think this is where it has to be Hangman because Mox pushes him up another level, and Hangman's already fucking loved. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just think this is where Hangman has to go up. And now the 60-minute Iron Man match, MJF and Bryan Danielson for the championship. Honestly, I think it's got to be MJF. I don't think you pull this belt off him that quickly. It's been a lot of talk. I'm going to hold this belt for years, which is part of the reason I could see you making the argument for like Danielson's going to win because it's been a lot of talk from MJF. But again, I don't want to see it be like a transitional thing with MJF and then Danielson has it and then MJF sort of gets it right back at some point and now we're back onto that bullshit. You know what I mean? Like I think MJF has to walk out of this with the win and he'll probably cheat to win because that's MJF and he makes no bones about it. I'm going to cheat and you can't beat me.
I agree. It's likely MJF. I think it would be awesome if it was Danielson. He's been pushing this reign of terror thing and Triple H's reign of terror was not consecutive days, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like this is his first like major title defense and you should have him win. And I also think MJF beating Bryan Danielson means something in the career of MJF. Like that's a huge deal.
MJF needs this more than Danielson. MJF wins.
I also just think this is a great spot for, much like Hangman and Mox, MJF or Danielson going 60 minutes with MJF makes MJF look way more legitimate as a wrestler, right? I mean, I think people already know he can wrestle, right? But this is a different type of match.
Right.
And I think that MJF comes out of this, cheating or not, looking, even shitty, more of a shit heel, and that helps this whole story. And then I don't know who would be next for MJF, but you have a whole new story to build because he can just lay this one on him too. I had a dog collar match I won. I had,
Iron Man, yeah.
Iron Man, and I told you I'd cheat and all this shit. I just think it's MJF. I really do. Few things for those following what's going on with Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's case was closed. He pleaded no contest on all 3 charges: DUI, driving with suspended, revoked license, and violating restrictions on his driver's license. He was credited serving 38 days in jail. He's on probation for 24 months, fined $4,000 with court costs listed at about $600, maybe a little less. He's suspended for 10 years on his license. Part of the sentence included vehicle impoundment for 90 days and vehicle interlock device included for 2 years. For those who don't know what an interlock is, he's got to blow into the fucking thing in his car before it'll start to show he hasn't been drinking. And he's got to attend DUI school or drug rehab programs and do community service. So that's what's up with Jeff Hardy. So don't know if we're seeing him. Kate, you said there was some news about the kids talking about Punk returning.
Just the streets. Like he's posting more. He's posting similar stuff as FTR, things like that. So it's just he's mobilized from his injury. Like I don't think he's probably cleared to compete, but he's I think well enough to come back and cost the Bucks if they wanted to. FTR not being in the tag match as it is set up right now certainly adds intrigue to that. Like they would be going down that story. A lot more people in the press just let bygones be bygones with the backstage thing. Like seems like they're kind of clearing out what had happened. So we'll see. I think that you have a tremendous slate of stories if they are able to work something out, but interesting.
It is interesting because Mark Henry on Busted Open was asked what he thinks Khan should do with Punk. And he said, if I was in charge, I would bring him back. And I would bring him back with him saying to the wrestling world, not an apology, but just state the facts. Grown men will disagree and things will be said, and that probably shouldn't have been said. And I regret airing my dirty laundry in front of the world. It won't happen again. Do we agree on everything? No. Can we work together and exist and have a business relationship? Yes. I will not let my personal feelings and my personal gripes and concerns interfere with business again, because ultimately the important thing is business, and I am in the business, and business is good. AEW is better with me around. Somebody also sort of put on Twitter that they said CM Punk retired, and CM Punk responded saying, you liked your own comment, bold, I'll wrestle again just to upset you. You'll watch no matter where. So just needling the people. But it sounds like there are people in AEW who'd want to bring him back. So it seems like they're pretty split. And there's been really no news on what's going on with Punk. So
no, I think the injury is part of it. Like,
of course, he was injured. That's the other thing people I think don't remember is he legit was injured.
Like bad. So
yeah.
I think kind of a blessing in disguise, to be honest.
And then the only other thing I really have is apparently TJ are both dealing with injuries. The last time we saw them was January 13th when they wrestled on Rampage. And there was immediate concern for Jay because she got powerbombed off the ramp onto the floor in a table spot that sort of went awry. And the word was she was okay, but she did reveal like last week that she did have an injury. She didn't really go into too much detail. She said no bruised tailbone, but I did have some dislocated ribs. Like she said not fun. So she did say what it was about. I should rephrase that, but she didn't say the extent of how bad it was. And then, it was sort of revealed through an interview, I think with Sammy, Sammy was somewhere and then Tay sort of responded somewhere. And she said she went to a couple of different doctors, and our doctor in AEW, I'm not cleared for now, but I will be really soon. I'm good. Don't worry. I want to be cleared, but the doctor's trying to hold me back a little to make sure I'm 100%. They told me I will be cleared in the next couple of weeks. It'll be fine. So if you're wondering why we haven't seen Tay or Jay, they've both been injured. That's honestly it. Boo.
It stinks that they're injured.
Oh, I thought you were saying boo, they're coming back.
No. I gotta go to the bathroom at some point, right?
That's true. And it is funny. Anytime Lil Money hears or sees Sammy Guevara, he goes, close your eyes. It's the ones who kiss. And we're like, no, don't worry.
Well, girls have cooties. He's not wrong.
So it should be a fun pay-per-view. We will be getting together, except for Schlong. He doesn't want to come to his own birthday party.
Of course.
We're still going to have the erotic cake. So we'll have that going for us. So we'll obviously talk about the pay-per-view next week. Maybe we'll just see how the first Ring of Honor show was. And it'll be the fallout from Revolution on Dynamite next week. And we already know we're going to get Hobbs in a match. So we should have some shit to talk about. But until then, you can hear and see some of us in some other places. Kate, why don't you tell the people where you're going to be?
Oh my goodness. Tomorrow, Fightful, I'm doing the ROH post show, so that should be fun. Friday, doing the AEW Rampage and SmackDown post show. Saturday, Excite Wrestling. I'm going to be saying something about goggles, and I'm also going to be saying either Wango Tango, Be Still My Heart, Kick Up Your Heels, or Know Your Onions, based on how you, the people, vote. So go over to the Mark Order Twitter. Mondays on Fightful Select, doing the Raw post show. Tuesdays, doing the NXT post show. Sunday, I'll be at Ants watching this pay-per-view, and I will also be coming home right after to do a post show on Fightful Select. So no days off. We hustle, we grind. So yeah, it's gonna be a long weekend, but it's gonna be a fun one. Let's go.
All right, Gary V, we get it. You
Hustle,
rise and
grind.
God.
Hashtag blast. Hashtag
You
grateful.
sound like a
hashtag
finance
work.
bro with all those rise and grind and
Hashtag
hustles.
invest in my crypto.
No, don't invest in crypto. No, don't.
In my crypto.
I wouldn't invest in any crypto at this point,
No
to be honest.
faith in me.
Any crypto, not just yours. Dogecoin, other cryptos. I don't know.
Other cryptos.
I don't even know what cryptos there still are. Schlong, where are people following you?
At Mark Order Pod, you could see me Mondays and Tuesdays live tweeting Dark and Elevation, and I'm there the rest of the week. So at Mark Order Pod on Twitter.
So like Schlong said, follow us on Mark Order Pod on Twitter, but you can also follow us on all our socials at Mark Order Pod. If you head over to our link tree in our profiles on any of those socials, you can find all the links to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. So make sure you do that. You can also click the link to get some free stickers. So just give us your name, your full mailing address, the country you live in, drop us your email too, so that we can follow up if needed. And we will send you out some of these free stickers,
V1,
no charge.
V2.
What?
V1 and V2.
Oh, V1 and V2 for sure. I send out like 4 stickers. So you're not just getting 2, you're getting 4. You can keep all of them. You can share them with friends who you know like wrestling and be like, listen to these guys. Get the word out. Just trying to get the word out. The other thing you could do to help support us financially and also get the word out is you can head over to our Pro Wrestling Tees store. It's prowrestlingtees.com/markorderpod, or there's a link in the link tree. And they're running this Merch Madness sale, 20% off, plus orders over $150 get free US shipping. There are some restrictions that apply, but you should get that. Use code MADNESS23. And pick up one of our 4 shirts that we have in the store. A couple single-sided prints, a couple double-sided. If you've been waiting for a sale, now's the time. So check it out and help support us if you can. If not, it's all good. Thank you to everybody who watched along tonight. Great group in the chat tonight. The Cabbage Senseis, the Jesse Ozogs, Marky Mark Kayfabe, Rob Humphrey, Jesse Ozog. I think I already said that. Eric Freeds was in here earlier. Asian Joe. I don't know. I'm sure I'm forgetting a ton of people. But thank you all for watching and chatting along. We see you all in there supporting us. So thank you for those listening in podcast form. We thank you to everybody watching or listening. If you could take a few minutes to subscribe on podcast forms, if you're listening there, rate, review, subscribe. It greatly helps us out. Same thing if you're on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Give some likes. All that helps us show up in the algorithm. So we appreciate you taking some time to do that if you can. Other than that, I'm sure we all wish you a happy pay-per-view on Sunday. Enjoy the show. You can hear us talk about it next week. And we're going to talk about the fallout from Revolution on episode 102 next week. We're over the 100 mark. On our way to 169. So get ready. And hopefully we have some Pretty Peter Avalon to talk about, right? Kate's all verklempt.
Always.
I am.
Ryan's also way into the Pretty Peter Avalon. You haven't changed your background.
Nope, I'm all in.
All in. All right, everybody, enjoy the pay-per-view. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening. See ya.
This concludes the Mark Order podcast. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Join the Mark Order.